Hello and welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Stanton. Man, I need to change the way I say this. It's like it's the same every time, and I'm like,
Yeah, but it's
okay.
consistent.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's true.
consistency good? I don't know.
I need some kind of a gimmick or something at the end of it. You know what I mean? All right. So, if for those of you who are maybe watching this for the first time, it's our long podcast or YouTube talk show,
YouTube talk show,
whatever you want to call it.
You read it.
Where we take about 2-3+ hours, sometimes 4, scratching 5 at times.
Wait, have we gone that long?
Yeah, it was like 4, almost 5 once.
Oof.
And we talk about Star Citizen. And at the beginning, both of us like long form, how do you call that? Long form, like podcast content, whatever. And I kind of feel like we pushed ourselves to go as long as we can.
Sometimes I feel it happens pretty naturally most of the time. I don't all the times we've gone really long. I haven't felt like we've been like pushing for that longest. It just happens. So yeah,
like both of us enjoy doing it. There's no doubt about it. But I sometimes I feel like when we are preparing it, it's almost like I have that feeling that is it going to be long enough? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where sometimes like the truth is, we depend a lot on CAG and what happens in the game.
It's true, yeah.
And no matter how much we can get creative and all that, when something actually happens, it gives us so much more to talk about.
Well, it's weird though too, because there's been those times where it felt like there isn't really a ton to talk about, and we're like, it's gonna be a short episode.
Yeah.
And then
4 hours later.
4 hours later, because we tangent all over the place.
Yeah. Luckily, there's a lot of people who enjoy that, and we are both grateful that you guys are actually listening, commenting, liking, subscribing, and all that stuff. The channel is actually growing faster than I thought, to be fair, and it's very cool to see. Yeah. Before we go into the show, I've made this recent change, and I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about this time. Last time it didn't go well because I got kind of sick halfway through, so we didn't do everything I said, but I'm feeling really good today, so we should be okay. So we're gonna start with what we did or what's happening around the world in the game and whatnot. And then we're gonna go into Railen QA that happened on Spectrum. After that, we're gonna hop into the news where we're gonna talk regularly about ISC and SCL. Actually, it's
with
not
a little bit. Sorry, with the news, I put in here, maybe if we can squeeze it in. Luke Presley did a post on Spectrum about updates to the law, trespass prison systems, which kind of was covered a little bit in SCL, but we have like a point-by-point thing from the actual Spectrum post, so we can do that in the news as well.
For sure, yeah. Not as much as last week, but still pretty good week because we're getting the new planet and whatnot, and the patches around the corner. After that, we have a topic for you, which we call what would bring us back to the game. Like, what major changes would immediately be like, oh, okay, I'm logging in right now. Yeah. After that, we have our regular imagination station. And this is a carryover from the last episode. Basically, it's called More Vehicles, and it's literally us imagining additional vehicles that we could have in Star Citizen, not talking about ships, rather like alternative ways of movement.
And this as per kind of like last episode, we touched on it a little bit closer to the end, how things like, for example, boat physics, like watercraft physics and things like that are actually on the roadmap. And then I guess we'll just take that like a bit of a step further and go into like what else we could see, rather than just the generic kind of like ground vehicles that we have, Gravlab vehicles, stuff like that. Just gonna go full imagine on this.
A little clue. I think we can all agree that every spaceship needs a dinghy and a pair of fishing poles in it. So
you know what, like I've never been super crazy about fishing in games, but after playing Valheim,
it's so relaxing, dude. I love it.
I'm a little bit more into it. I'm a little bit more into that idea.
still feel like you're playing the game, but you're not like rushed or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, and then after that, like always, if we have any questions, we will answer them. This is this show. If you're watching on YouTube, we are also running it live on Twitch TV/Masocast, as you can see under Maso's frame. We can't tell you the exact time because we are always
suck
like
at that.
It's kind of random. But in Europe,
We suck at that.
yeah, in Europe is Sunday. Late afternoon, evening, between 7 and 9 p.m. usually, although now it's 10 p.m. So yeah.
Well, I will say, in my defense, well, actually no, this was mostly my fault. We were gonna start on time today, maybe even a little early, but
yeah.
we had a heat wave hit here, and my garden just went into full on emergency mode, and I lost track of time. So,
but it's this time. But we are always all around
somewhere
the place.
Around now.
Yeah, we don't like.
Somewhere
there's no
now.
fixed time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Twitter or you can hop onto my Discord and you'll always see that we always drop it there. The only reason and I'm saying this now is because we actually at the end of the show we answer questions that we get throughout the episode. Although we are not really reacting to the chat at all until that moment. I'm guilty for that.
Though I will say, one of the things that to keep in mind is that you don't actually have to stick around. Like if you want to ask a question and then take off, Chegg does all the timestamps in the YouTube video.
Yep.
So you can come in, drop in a question, and then, we will answer it at the end. And if you want to hear our responses to it, you can just basically timestamp to the end of the video.
Yeah, on YouTube.
When we're doing that. So.
Alrighty. We're gonna start with something different. Well, this section at the beginning is what we did and what's happening. But we actually kind of the other show that we do, which is Stanton Gossip, which comes midweek and it's much shorter. We always ask people to give us links to interesting videos and that we can look into. And we talked about this, both of us, before the last show, but then we forgot to put it into the show. My fault. I'll take full responsibility because we definitely talked about it. Dr. Havoc linked a video that I'm gonna have linked in this episode. You can check it down in the links. And it's kind of a machinima scripted story.
I'd say machinima is a good description for it. Yeah,
it's obvious that someone invested quite a lot of time and they couldn't do it on their own, so there was a group of people working on it. There's a plot twist. If you're interested, it includes some Crusader and Buccaneers, some Crusader ships.
It's lots of shooties and lots of explosions, and Star Citizen is nothing if not pretty, and this is an example of Star Citizen being pretty, but not just walking over planets in actual combat scenarios and stuff like that. I think it's really well cut together, to be honest. There's no dialogue or anything like that, but just the way they kind of cut the scenes together does a pretty good job of telling a story. So
I think this is something that people escape to a lot because of the droughts that we're having.
Yeah, and it gives you that idea of what the game could be, you know what I mean?
But also, if you are creating any kind of content like this, it makes you log in, do something, gather people around, get active around the game, even though the game is not really giving you a lot of reason to log in. Although some people always find a reason, to be fair.
That's true. Yeah.
So definitely check it out. Drop a subscription to their channel if you like it. Click on like or dislike.
And also, sorry to Dr. Havoc, we meant to mention this on Wednesday, but 100%. We totally.
We're gonna add the link in the other Stanton Gossip as well. Okay. So I have a question for Masto. I know he's been playing Stellaris quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, and the Steam sale happened a few days ago, so it's still running. And Stellaris is on a huge what's the name?
Summer sale, yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge sale. It's like $10.
It's 75% off.
75%.
And if you like like really big like 4X style strategy games, you can't go wrong with this. I would say if you're unsure about it, pick up the vanilla version. You have a few days to decide whether or not you want any of the DLCs. But I've just been playing the vanilla version for, I don't know, like 2 weeks now, and I've been having a good time with it. The learning curve isn't so much of a curve as a cliff. Like it's a dense game, but I've really been enjoying it. I would say definitely if you're into those sorts of games, pick up the vanilla version, and then, like I said, play it for a little bit. And then if you decide that you like that style of game and the way it plays, grab the summer DLC pack. Because again, they're like 75% off, and basically for $40 you get like the game and the majority of the DLC, or like a bunch of the really highly recommended DLCs. Not the 2 newest ones that they put out, but like if you're just getting into it, I would say it's more than enough to, it's more than enough to keep you occupied for God knows a long time. You know, and then you can just basically hang out for another sale on the newest DLCs. But yeah, if you were a space game / strategy / 4X enthusiast, yeah, Stellaris gets my thumbs up. I know it's a thumbs up of a lot. I've seen Mike play it, Salty Mike play it on stream a couple times too. He's big into it. It's a dense but really good game if you like those empire builders.
We are not sponsored or anything. It's just like us kind of
I
digging
wish
the game.
we were sponsored.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of.
The reason I
guess.
brought this up is the sale came up and I was looking through it. The only thing that I would really buy is 50% of Forza that I just bought anyways few weeks ago. And this is something that I'm always like, I look at the Stellaris, I see their like art, you know, like the front art or whatever, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to try this game, but then the price is, it's not a game that you just buy to try. It's like you have to invest into it. Like you have to know what you're buying, kind of, especially for someone like me.
With all the DLCs and stuff.
Especially with DLCs and all that. But now with 75% off, like the proper sale. It's not like, I was laughing, Valheim has a sale and it's like $1 sale. I'm like, okay, that's a nice sale, whatever.
$1 off, you mean?
Yeah, $1 off.
Wow.
But yeah, this is actually really good. Okay, so I actually played some Star Citizen.
I did not.
I played 2 sessions, and they both ended up very poorly. The first one, I logged into the game and I played on my alt account with only Aurora, and I wish I could reset that account like fully. But I have an Aurora and I have an Avenger Titan that I bought in game, and I kind of want to remove that Avenger Titan, but to like have a fresh start on it. Anyways, I tried to do a quantum sensitive mission, and I took the one on Lyria, and fuck, dude, Lyria looks so good. Like I haven't been there in a while, and it really, especially like not like midday or like night, just you don't see shit, but like, you know, sunset, sunrise, well, kind of on the moon, whatever. It just looks so good. The atmosphere is really good. I like it. Yeah, I picked up 2 packages. I delivered one, I went to deliver the other, and I had blue screen of death, and that was brutal. That was sad. And then I logged in today.
Wait, did you figure out if that was like heat related?
It was heat related, but the thing is, it doesn't happen with any other game, and we know that SE is really not well optimized, and you know all that. Yeah. And then on top of that, it's really hot in here.
It's CPU heavy, so it's gonna be like just maxing out your CPU.
Probably. Yeah. But then today, I was like, okay, let's do it again, and I'll explain while I'm pushing myself into doing it a little bit. And the same thing, I went to Lyria. Well, I picked up the first mission. It was Lyria, and flew there with the Titan and picked up 1 pack. So basically, you get 2 of these packages that you had to put in your ship and then deliver them to 2 different locations. And what I usually do, I take one package, bring it to the cycling area, then go and pick up the other package, bring it there as well, so that I can like open the cycling area and just put them inside, and then
Yeah.
So what happened is I did that. I cycled, and I picked up, I picked up the fucking box, and it catapulted me like 3 kilometers away. It was so funny. It was like Matrix. I picked the box
3 kilometers,
and I'm just like slowly flying, like flying slowly through the air. Literal Matrix. I thought it's 30K, but no, I landed, got damage, and I was looking at this like box that says like no quantum, whatever the fuck. And I was like, oh man, I'm not walking back, bro. Like, I'm not. This game
3
hates
kilometers
me, bro.
with a box would
But you know how
take
slow
forever.
it is. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and you can't do anything. You know how it feels? It's like, remember when they introduced the thruster pushback physics? That's how it feels like. Almost like a station has a thruster and just like
Well,
pushes
that's what
me
I thought
away.
when you said that you put it in the airlock or whatever, or like and then like opened it. I was like, well, maybe you got like pushed out or something. But
I did, but like,
yeah, but
what do you do? It's ridiculous. I
that's
don't
not how airlocks work, though. It's not supposed to happen.
know. That's funny. But yeah, and then I played a little bit like just before the show. Actually, we were testing something because I figured out that if you fly Titan, if you like use keyboard and mouse, there's dude, when we record this, the music just stops for no reason in Spotify. I don't know why. Like super randomly. So yeah, if you're flying a Titan and you move your mouse left and right, like in most of the ships, it just like turns, but like on the rail, it just turns to the side.
Yeah.
And then we tested this now, and in the atmosphere, if you do this in a Titan, I don't know if this was there before. I don't know. I don't think it was. But if you turn it, it will start banking.
Yeah.
And it will bank to a point where it will start looking down to the ground, basically. Which, I don't know if it's like a rogue change or I just did not pay enough attention, but it was so strange because when it happened, I was like, this was not like
I'm hoping it's a tweak to the flight model, and I'm hoping it's intentional because we were talking about a little bit off air, but like I really like the idea that individual ships have little quirks and stuff like that to flying them. Like, for example, I was pointing out like a couple weeks ago how the MSR in atmosphere constantly wants to nose down on you when you're trying to fly straight, and that's fucking annoying. So I don't necessarily hope that stays, but if that did become just kind of like part of the characteristics of flying a ship, you'd know that, right? So like you might be able to decide whether or not you wanted to continue using that ship based on the little quirks. Or for example, if the in this case, for example, if the aerodynamics of the Avenger were such where, in atmosphere, when you yaw left or right, it wants to yaw or it wants to roll either way. Like, again, like that's potentially a quirk of flying the Titan that you can either, I don't know.
Well, just like if you know it, you'll be better pilot than someone who doesn't, for example.
Or
you might
whether
feel
or not
good
you
for
even
you
want
or
to
not.
fly it. Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
would be super cool though? If this was, well, right now, not really, but like in future when they develop the game or whatever, if this was a way, if something goes wrong, and then you suddenly get one of these like perks that like your ship starts yawing, or nose goes down and stuff like that.
That's supposed to happen, and it used to in the old flight model. Like if you took damage to your to like certain
Thrusters or something.
Thrusters, like your ship would behave noticeably different.
It still does on some ships. The thrusters matter. Like if you're flying a Reliant, whoever is flying a Reliant knows what I'm talking about. Like don't lose a wing.
Or a Talon. Yeah, if you lose a wing, you just spin in circles. Yeah. But I feel like those are extreme examples of it. But like I like the idea where even like more progressively you'd start to feel that damage potentially, or just like I said, like just characteristics of the flight profile in general. Like the Avenger is just shaped this way, and as such, when you try to yaw in atmosphere, it rolls. And then you, like I said, you get to decide whether or not that's something that annoys you and you don't want to fly it, and you fly something else. You know,
Yeah.
like I like that idea. I
As
like
long as
I
we-
like the idea.
As long as it's like set in stone, we know, beforehand that this is a thing.
And not a
I'm
bug.
down for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
for
you
sure.
think everything is a bug unless they announce it, right? There's no other
Well,
way to know it.
Yeah, that's the alpha
Yeah,
dilemma, right? It's like, is it a bug? Is it a feature?
it's Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
The
But-
reason I'm doing this is because I've been streaming Final Fantasy 14 for the past 2 weeks, and I kind of enjoyed it. But at the same time, I felt like an alien there because I'm not interested in anime in general, and it's just not my world, and I don't care about the story at all and all that. I gotta say, like, the end game and the community are great, but I kind of feel like I'm cheating all the time, and even though my community kind of welcomed it and it was fun, although the last like 3 days, dude, I was just fishing for like 7 hours straight every day, because they have this like, fishing is like a class. You're a fisher is a class, like Rogue in World of Warcraft. Yeah,
Oh my
everything
God.
is a class there. So you have this progression, and then there's a raid, like the 24
The
people.
fishing raid.
Yeah, every 2 hours you have to appear in a
What?
pier, like in the port, and if you're late, they're gone, and the ship picks up first 24 people, and it's like a fishing tournament, but it goes to like 3 different locations, and there's like procs and whatever. It's very interesting.
Oh my God. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So my fisher profession is higher than anything else that I've had so far. So it's a lot of fun.
My wife was kind of like humming and hawing on whether or not she wanted to get into Final Fantasy, but she loved fishing and WoW, like loved it. Did all the fishing tournaments and stuff like that. So like hearing this, I'm just going like, she'd probably like Final Fantasy. She's big into anime too, so
then she should try it. It's free, dude.
I
Like,
think so.
it's
Yeah.
free up to level 60 and forever. The first time you pay for something, you gotta keep paying for like forever. But like until you pay for something, you're good to go for free. Anyways, I think we'll go back to streaming like World of Warships and Star Citizen like before, until New World comes out. Yeah, I was thinking about, like, I'm not gonna lie, man, I have to push myself into playing and streaming Star Citizen lately. Like, I just don't play it.
Yeah.
And
No, it's not surprising to me. I've been there.
I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people with the same issue.
No,
And
there's a lot of people. Yeah.
the only thing, like right now, my account has a lot of ships, and I can change them and all that. Of course, I'm gonna try Taurus when it comes out, and
Why?
because I like the ship. I told you.
It's just a constellation.
I like
Sorry.
Constellation. So what? I'd rather have a Taurus than Andromeda. I use it for the same thing.
Okay.
And I'm
fair
curious
enough.
about the interior and setup and all that.
Okay,
but-
that's fair. That's fair. But I'm like, when I hear people like, "Oh, I'm excited to try the
No.
the Taurus," I'm like, it's a constellation. It's gonna be the same, just with a different back end. Like,
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. Even with that's what I was going to. Even with that, I don't care. Like, you can keep me in the game for like half an hour, and I'm
fair
done.
enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
So,
okay.
so I want to go back to, like, I hate saying this because there's so many streamers doing this as well, and of course they are, because it's the most fun to do in the game, and there's some kind of progression. But like, whatever, zero to hero, thing. And man, I don't know. The problem that I have is there's like 2 ways of doing this, and everyone does it except for Cutlet. He made his own third way, which is piracy from zero to hero. It's actually kind of cool to check his progression, but
That's
he's
like
crazy.
hard mode, man.
He's
That's hard
crazy,
mode.
dude. Like what with the things he does, and then
Yeah.
you see legit how passionate about the game this guy is. People
Yeah.
can hate him, but like, he loves the game.
Even though he gets salty, yeah, like you
Mavars
cannot
can
deny.
get salty, yeah, but he's
Yeah.
not doing it for the salt. He's doing it
We
because
get
he's
salty.
crazy. Yeah.
I mean, shit. Watch our previous episodes. We get salty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's either bounty hunting, which I'm burned out on that. Like I just can't anymore. And
Yeah, no, that's fair.
and the other one is mining, which you know
I'm
what
burnt out on
the
that, too.
worst part of that is, like, I actually kind of enjoyed asteroid mining, but it's the honestly HUD on Prospector kills me. It's like the resolution on that thing is so bad. It's like, you know, 640 times 800 or whatever. Like everything's like bleh.
I wonder if that's going to change in 3.14. We'll talk
It's
a
missed.
little bit about this.
Let's see, but it's missed. I don't
Yeah,
think
but they said they're putting in the new, what do they call them, slideshow HUDs or something like that. That's happening for everybody.
We'll
think
talk about
it's
it.
just going to be
And there's the new scanning with, like, that goes like from ground up and all that, and if that's in the game, I want to do it, right? So I was thinking
I'll
about
try.
this. So what about scavenging kind of salvage? The problem is, like, I want to do something like that, but it will take forever.
What do
Like,
you
just
mean?
go to the derelict sites and collect the fucking boxes of everything and sell it in green hacks. But the problem is,
Whoa, that's gonna take so long.
yeah. Well, if it's combined with the missions that are on derelicts, because how else you find them?
Still
Maybe.
though, man.
What
like,
else, dude? Like, I need something different, because I'm so everything else is fucking boring to me nowadays. Like, I don't know, like, I did it so many times, you know. Whatever.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, for sure. But like I mean, whatever. If you're doing it for fun, it's just like, it's so depressing to spend all that
It is.
time loading those tiny ass little boxes and getting like 100 UEC for them. Like,
Not even, like, altogether maybe 200 or something.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, for content, it's not that bad because you never know what's gonna happen with the box. Like, literally, like me flying from that station, or whenever you try to take or toss, you know, a box outside, something crazy can happen. So
Yeah.
kind of funny. But yeah,
I guess
don't
if
know.
you're looking at it from like a content perspective, sure, but that would bore the fuck out of me, and there's no way I would do it for actual gameplay. Just because, like, it again, like, just it feels like such a waste of time to collect those boxes.
Yeah,
like, if they
but
were
everything
in
is
any way valuable, if they were in any way valuable, at least you wouldn't feel like you're just, like, you know, literally wasting time. And yeah, you're right, everything's a waste of time in Star Citizen right now because nothing matters. But
that's another problem. Like, I don't know what my goal is. Like, what do I want to get? You know?
yeah, well, that's kind of it, right? In the state of the game. So
Like, no ship will change my gameplay anyways. So
yeah, like, the only thing that the only goals I would have in Star Citizen right now would be to pick up different ships. But you're right, like, that's it right there. Like, I have all of my gameplay covered from ships I either A, have bought with real money, or B, have earned in game, you know. So
yeah, well, that's why I have an alt account. But even if I start with Aurora and I ignore the Titan, what do I get? The Titan, okay, and then what? Like, get maybe Atlas Black, because it's easier to toss things into it, and then what? Like, you're done basically.
Well, that's it. Like, that's the dilemma that we've been talking about for like weeks now, months actually. And this is like, we had a few comments on our last video about, like, you know, like, about when we talk about how nothing has changed, or how we haven't really got anything new in Star Citizen for, you know, 2 years now. And people kind of, like, there were a couple people in the comments who took a little bit of an exception to that and said, like, well, you know, there's this and this and this and this. And it's like, yes, we're not saying there hasn't been anything added to the game. We're just saying that there hasn't been anything that has really changed gameplay.
Nothing new in terms of gameplay, right? Of course, CIG is working on the game. Like, we're not doing a devs are not doing anything, or like they're working on shit. They're polishing. You know, like, there's so many things that's going on. We're not crazy. But
Yeah,
we're
we're not
also
saying
not
that there
blind.
has
Like
been.
it's the same
Yeah.
gameplay loop. The only difference that
Yeah.
happened was the way you do bounty hunting and
Prison.
well, I'm not even going to count prison because that's just a mistake right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reputation system, which come on, like
It
reputation
doesn't
system
change
just
anything.
doesn't yeah,
No.
and it's
It will in the future, and I guess
Yeah.
this is the thing. Like you said. I mean, it's not like we're not saying that there hasn't been any progress. It's just that the gameplay loop itself has been pretty much static since like 2018, maybe 2017.
since I started,
Wow.
there's nothing. Like the only
Yeah.
major difference since I started playing the game is
Persistence.
persistence. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. So like
Okay.
yeah, like you can do the missions to earn the ships, but yeah. Anyway, and so anybody who's listening to this, if you've made that comment in the past videos, and like I said, I haven't got around to responding to all of them, but like that's kind of where we're coming from. It's not like we're saying like they haven't been doing anything. It's just like we need some more depth added to the gameplay loop, and that hasn't happened for a couple years. And again, to caveat that, we acknowledge like they're working on back end systems and stuff like that, but that doesn't really reach us out front here yet. To the people who are actually trying to play this game, I actually said I was going to stop calling this a game and keep calling it a project, but that's kind of besides the point. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of where we're coming from. Totally tangenting there, but yeah,
It's like now 3.14 is coming and it's bringing a lot of visual changes and upgrades to systems that we already have in the game, and
yeah,
it's going to be fun for a couple of days depending on the person, maybe
try
a
the new
month or whatever,
things.
because it now looks differently, it's fleshed out. But
Yeah.
in reality 3.14 is not bringing anything new to the game.
No.
Now obviously they're working hard to make changes in 3.14, and I'm not saying anything against it, but the truth of the matter is nothing new is happening.
Yeah.
What?
Even with the capacitors, right? Like obviously combat is going to like John Crew, and we'll get into this in the ISC section of the news. Like he said, literally every stat on the ships has been rebalanced for capacitors. And that is going to be interesting for sure, but it's not going to change the
It's
gameplay.
a lot of work and all that, but yeah, exactly. What are you going to do with it?
The same stuff.
Same stuff. So that's why we were excited, both of us were excited when they announced cargo decks, for example, because now that can change the way you do a whole profession. Or I always get excited about scrapping or like stuff like that. Like come on, give us something, even year
Looting.
one, anything, looting, something like this. These things will change it, turn it upside down, right? Because you get something new to do. Just like imagine Star Citizen without mining right now. Like we need more minings. See, that's what it is.
Well, I think that's it too. Like I think, and this is the thing, I think a lot of people who are like looking for those drastic changes to gameplay too, they overlook just how much of a difference the small changes to the game loops can be too. But up until now, we haven't really had those small changes to the game loop. We've had additions to the game itself, but we haven't had anything that's like added depth to the gameplay, and that's like that's what we're still kind of waiting on. So yeah,
we'll touch more on that like later. We have a couple of topics that will kind of cover this as well. All right, so we had Railen Q&A that I did not read.
Okay, well I did.
So yeah, you'll take us through it. It's funny,
so,
I have the ship and I did not read it.
Oh, you actually got? Oh, that's right. You wanted the cat loaner. Yep.
It's the cheapest cat in the game. I'll let you fly it.
I still have the opportunity to pick it up, but I just. Anyways, yeah. I mean, we talked a little bit about that in Stanton Gossip about how
I think
it might
was
just
last
come
episode
down to.
of Straight Out Stanton. Actually, I'm not sure, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, we touched on the Montoya video.
Oh, okay.
On Wednesday about like how he talked about like how the Railen might just end up being kind of one of those things that feels better but I still just haven't got myself to a point where I can justify having
I know
it,
I will not care about it because it's an alien ship, and I've
even
set
though, like,
myself to like, nah, I don't care about alien ships.
yeah,
Flying them,
yeah,
I want them in the game again. Like,
and they're
just give it
cool. Like,
more. Yes, yeah, they
yeah,
sound good,
it's
they
neat.
look good, and I want to kill
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. And for me, it's like literally it's a $5 CCU, but I still can't bring myself to get it because it's like I just don't know. Anyways, whatever. What we're trying to get to here is that they did a Q&A on the Railen. I'm not sure how it's pronounced anymore. Railen. And answered a bunch of our questions that we had about it. We actually talked about this. This is what we talked about last straight out of Stanton, talking about a bunch of the kind of we just theory crafted a little bit about the Railen, and they actually answered a bunch of what we kind of had talked about. So one of them that we talked about was the idea of external cargo versus internal cargo, whether or not it was actually going to be a disadvantage, that much of a disadvantage. And it sounds like in this case, it's not going to be that much of a disadvantage, because they pointed out that with the Railen specifically, unlike the Hull series, the boxes of cargo are actually inside those triangular cargo pods on the back. So the cargo that's on the Railen is actually protected in like an extra shell of armor, basically. So it's like external, but not quite as protected as if it were internal, but also not quite as unprotected as if it were just like on a Hull series, like hanging off the back of the ship kind of a thing.
So I'll just interrupt you here for a moment. When they were talking about Railen like last week, or they kind of said that they didn't want to make it an external cargo ship. The reason they made it like externally so that they can have more interior space to play with. So the idea was not to like expose cargo, but to have more internal space so that you can make the ship feel like, especially because it's first of that, like you can feel the atmosphere inside and how they would whatever live in it or whatever.
And that's basically
sense.
what it's turned out. Yeah, that's basically what it's turned out to be, with them being kind of like they're considered to be part of the ship. Now, what I think would be interesting is like they say that it'll be loaded via tractor beam and stuff like that, but with all the anti-grav tech, like in the anti-grav lifts and stuff like that on the Railen, I wouldn't be surprised if like you want to load the cargo pod and the cargo pod like floats down and then opens up for the cargo.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, that's totally imagined speculation territory there, but how cool would that be? That would be pretty sweet. Like, because otherwise, like, I can't really see them, I can't really see them basically like tractor beaming every piece of cargo up onto the ship.
I think they made a
say
boo-boo with this. They wanted to make it like
possible.
interesting and different, and they overdid it.
The easy way around that would be just to use the anti-grav like floating stuff that they already have on the ship, right? Like that's the theme. Like the elevators float down, all the component, like the consoles and stuff, like anti-grav together and float together. So just do the same thing for the cargo pods. Done.
Maybe
and
they can like open and then you put the cargo in and then it like closes over.
Yeah, closes over and then like floats back up. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty sweet. But they did say specifically that that's how those cargo pods are going to be loaded. They said via tractor beam, but like I think there's probably gonna have to have some sort of anti-grav something
or whatever,
for that. Yeah, some sort of tech for that. And in this case, like I feel like it would be the easier kind of developer way to do things while also kind of keeping with the theme of the ship. So I think that's cool. The other thing they said is that to be clear, those pods are also covered by the ship's shields, which I'm not really surprised about, but there were some people who kind of like had questioned whether or not that was going to be the case, whether or not that was like the disadvantage of them. Wait, you said that too, didn't you? Yeah. Okay.
I was wondering if that's going to be,
bunch of other people apparently were wondering about that as well. But yeah, so it's going to be covered by the ship's shields. And from the sounds of things, we'll get into this a little bit later because they touched on this a little bit in SCL. But it sounds like with the Railen, it might be just one shield face for this ship because it only has one shield emitter. But we'll see. We'll see.
Doesn't it have two shields?
It has two shields, but only one shield emitter.
Okay.
So same thing with the fighters. Like, and this is something they talked about a little bit in SCL. Like, ships can have multiple shield generators, but like the fighters, smaller ships will only have one shield face. It'll be like a shield bubble kind of a thing. So that
I kind of feel like they have no clue what they're talking about when they talk about shields.
No, probably not. Probably not. Yeah, there's still obviously there's still in.
Let's confuse everyone that listens, and then we'll figure out something down the road.
It confused me, for fuck's sakes. I mean, like there was a weird thing because they're doing this Q&A, and then there's this like random shield emitter question in the middle of all of it. Yeah. Like, what does this mean? And so they didn't really clarify that, but yeah, who knows? They did confirm that it will be more agile than ships in its class because it's Xi'an, which
makes sense.
Fair. That's their whole thing is good 6 degrees of freedom maneuverability because of the way their thrusters are gimbaled.
It doesn't really look very agile, but that doesn't mean anything, to be fair.
No, but again, like they didn't say it's going to be very agile. They said very agile compared to ships in its class.
Yeah.
So, but I think the main thing is like because of the way their thrusters gimbal, it's not necessarily saying that it'll turn faster or whatever, just that, like, for example, if you give it full downwards thrust or whatever to give you some like vertical lift, like you're going to get the power of all of those main thrusters because those main thrusters will be able to just gimbal straight down and give you full thrust,
to be fair, Taurus will probably be in its class. Not very difficult to outmaneuver Taurus.
Fair. Or the Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess technically the Star Runner is in its class. That thing is way too maneuverable. That's
so many
that's
things.
Gonna get nerfed. Let's be honest.
But that's like no. I don't see Star Runner as a cargo holder. I don't know.
It kind of is. I mean,
maybe
if the Max is a cargo hauler, then the MSR is a cargo hauler. If the Connie is a cargo runner, then
no.
What?
Because
go then.
Taurus is a cargo hauler, right? Max is a cargo hauler.
Yeah.
But Freelancer or Freelancer there are not cargo haulers. They can haul cargo. Andromeda is not a cargo hauler or right, and then
okay, fair enough.
And then MSR it can haul cargo, but it's also located runner.
Cargo.
Well, yeah, it does, but it's also a garage for your vehicle or whatever the fuck, or preps for whatever you need for your trip, or
fair enough.
It's a different kind of a ship, right?
Yeah, it hasn't been stripped down specifically for cargo hauling.
Yeah. Starlifter is a cargo hauler. MSR is so much more. It's like, right?
Yeah. Okay. A little bit more of an all-purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. Okay. And then in the Q&A, they did kind of like confirm what we were talking about in our Stanton gossip about that Montoya video. How he talks about how like there could be there's likely to be other factors in a ship that dictate beyond what you can see on paper, that dictate what you want to use for it. And they did say that because the Railen has quite a large living quarters, that it is more suitable for those like long haul missions, whereas like something like a Hull B, C, whatever, like those are very, very Spartan kind of ships. Yes, you can do a long haul mission in them, but like there's not a lot of frills on board. It's pretty much just like a like it's not something you'd want to live on. It's more like a semi truck with a sleeper on the back.
That kind of bums me. I always thought that the whole series will be. I like Misk, and I thought like it's gonna, like even Prospector has very interesting interior, right? With that bed and like and toilet and all that. Like it kind of looks. I like it, and I really thought of whole series like literally long haulers, like the shit.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going from Europe to States through Suez Canal in a long haul, you know, ship or whatever, it takes fucking month or so.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
these guys have like, it's not like living in a fucking hotel, but they have living quarters. So I kind of, it's okay
But
if it's
see-
like Drake-like almost, but I want them to have everything. You know, like they need to
See,
have everything.
That's kind of where, like, for me, when I look at the Hull series, I think more like tractor trailer with a sleeper on the back, kind of a thing. Like,
How can we say that if that's like literally okay? If you sure for like whole what is it, like A and B, let's say, but then once you get into C, D, fucking they're the biggest haulers in the world.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, to be fair, I don't think they specifically said the Hull like C and above. They said the Hull A and B specifically. So Hull C, you're right. Like it is, like you look at that ship, even the living quarters on that ship are pretty big compared to the other one. So it might not be that one. Like that one might be more kind of what you're thinking of, where it's like kind of more designed for like month-long trips. But they said specifically compared to things like the Hull B, I think is the specific one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair because it is like a truck kind of.
Yeah, like the Railen is more of that. I don't know, more of an RV inside as opposed to like a tractor trailer with a sleeper on the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange because it doesn't have that much cargo on it, right? So.
What, the Railen?
Yeah.
Yeah, but and here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that we just like we really have a big question mark.
Maybe
on.
Xi'an like compressed their cargo somehow.
Jump point sizes. That's kind of where like I think like it
will play a major role.
Yeah, like that's what I'm thinking. Like yeah, okay, it only has 300 SCU, but you know, but if it can squeeze through smaller jump points or whatever, like that's a pretty significant cargo size compared to, say, like the Max. You know, so
Max,
if it can,
okay. Yeah.
If it can fly through, I mean, obviously we're speculating here, but if it can fly through the same size jump points as the Max, I mean, it carries over twice what the Max does. So in that case, you know, like that's actually a pretty significant amount of cargo comparatively.
I have to make a tangent here because a few days ago I was actually I was deeply thinking about this. It's kind of funny that we're talking about this now, but like cargo hauling in Star Citizen and what things I'm like super confused about and what like from what I expect or would like to have to what we have now or what we'll have. And kind of the big disappointment to me is a jump point, because you can let's say let's take current world for an example. You're transferring something from, okay, I'm in Serbia, you're in Canada, right? So I want to send you something, and if I need that to get to you quickly, I'm gonna use DHL, and so I'm gonna pay a little bit extra. They're gonna come here, pack it up. It goes into a van goes to their plane, which is in Belgrade airport. Plane flies to, I don't know, Germany. There's an airplane. The airplane flies to Canada, and then from there a van brings it to. It's like 2 days worldwide, whatever, even 1 day maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that to me is like a jump point. Like you use all means necessary to get from point A to point B. What I would really like, because jump points, in my opinion, need to be paid service. As in, you have to pay to go through the jump point. It's like taking a highway instead of going all the way around.
To be honest, there might be.
We don't know, but I would like that. And here's the thing: like now, what I would like also is, if we are not in a rush, I can pay 10% of what I would pay for DHL.
Yeah.
And then this can go with a ship through fucking you
Which would
know,
be your hull C's, hull D's, or
yes.
whatever. Yeah,
So if
that has to go
hulls,
through like
yeah, so if hulls could actually fly without the jump point, they have their own like jump drive, whatever the fuck it is, and it
Mm.
takes forever, like not forever, obviously, much
Well,
faster than any other ship, but
here's how
long
that
enough.
works out though. Like, because if a hull C or hull D is restricted to like specific jump routes, that might mean that it takes a lot longer to get there, right? Because instead of just being able to say do one jump through a smaller jump lane,
Okay,
you know, bang, and that's your smaller, you know,
Ship,
but
yeah.
more expensive ship. It has to go like 3 jump lanes to get around.
We gotta
through
hope
the larger
they
ones to get
really
there.
well, like they find a really good way of setting up the jump, the black holes basically.
Yeah, totally. If you look at the star map, they actually have really
I know.
charted things out.
I know.
But they've also said that that's like still in flux. So that's something that they are actually still thinking of about how it's going to work and stuff like that.
Wouldn't it be cool though that you have a way to go from system to system that are next to each other without the jump hole? Kind of. You know, you can always squeeze that into with technology,
Yeah,
whatever the fuck.
it would be. It's actually one of the things that I think I would like to do an absolute zero effort science show about
Ooh.
one time.
Put it to the notes.
Because okay.
I like that idea.
Because like slower than light capital like colony ships, that's still a really viable way of establishing colonies. But in the situation of Star Citizen, for example, where you have not quite faster than light, but pretty much faster than light communication, because you can use jump gates to like transfer information, it allows you to have this cohesive kind of a star empire. But when you're dealing with you know, like a colony that is, say, 100 light years away, you know, and you sent a ship there, it took 200 years to get there, say, but it got there, it established a colony. Like, it's really hard to maintain an empire when it takes 100 years just to send a message back to Earth.
I can give you an idea, like how this could work gamified. You have jump holes. Is that how they're called?
Jump points.
Jump
I think
points.
they call
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
And jump points, we have like all we can do about them is find them, right? So someone finds a jump point, it's a space anomaly. That's what it is, right? And it speeds up the travel massively. Cool. But what if we, as humans or some other race, developed technology like space highway, kind of, wherein like if you like you have Aaron Halo and then you have a gate, and you can either fly through Aaron Halo or you can pay and then like you have a straight line boosted speed, just like the highway boosts your ship.
Did you ever play Freelancer? I don't remember if you ever played Freelancer.
I did, but like long ago. I don't remember the travel things.
That's how they did, basically. Like you could go through their like highway system.
And, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then if these like big cargo ships, they want to save money, just use the the public highway system between highway whatever gate from system to system to system to system. It's always the same price. It takes longer, but what do you care? You stop at the R&Rs.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck you do.
There might be a little bit of that with I guess, I don't know, like because they've talked about how like to go through jump gates you're gonna have to like you'll have to like know the jump point, or you'll have to pay for like nav computer data. Yeah. So like I don't know. I guess it's not really the thing, though.
I mean, it is.
There's been a rumor. There's been a rumor going around that we might see a jump gate between, or like a jump point between Microtech and Crusader, even in our current system. And I don't know if this is just something they're doing to test, or if it's going to be something in lore. But like, man, that could really shake stuff up if you had these like temporary jump points that were like popping up between different planets in the system every now and then.
Don't be proud, TAG. Take stuff from other games. Eve does black holes so well. They open up, and the hole is open for as long as it's not depleted. And it's depleted like based on how much mass goes in and goes out. And
That's
mass
cool.
in
I
terms
love
of
that.
ships. So if a
Oh my
Titan
God.
goes in, it fucking closes it. But the
Oh,
moment
that
it
makes
closes, it opens someone else. So you know
That
it
makes
can
my
find-
nerd brain really happy.
so good, right? I mean, no, listen, Eve, you got to do research on Eve, like not to play it, but people who started making Eve Online were actually astrophysicists or something. So
Yeah, it
they,
does not surprise me.
yeah.
Does not surprise me. Yeah,
but yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, it's,
I don't know. I hope that there's that kind of and honestly that's kind of it, right? Like I know we're totally tangenting here, but like that's what I think cargo gameplay is going to be. I really don't think it's going to be as basic as people think. That's why I get really skeptical when people talk about like how, you know, are like flexing like, oh, I got a hull D, you know, like I'm gonna make so much money. It's like there's gonna be more depth to cargo than that from what they've indicated so far.
to be fair, like if you know how to use the routes or you have someone who can give you the info or whatever, of course, if you have a bigger ship, you're gonna make more money than if you have a smaller ship.
If you know what you're doing,
Exactly,
but you might
that's what I'm
just
saying.
end up losing money with a big ass
Yeah.
hull D if you don't know what you're doing.
It's okay,
you
sell
know?
D, buy E.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I just think like cargo gameplay I feel is going to be a lot more varied than just simply having the ship that can haul the most, you know what I
I
mean?
really hope so.
Because like you said, I mean, like for example, right now, if you want to sell something or send something from Belgrade to anywhere else in the world, it's like you put it on a smaller plane or you put it on a van first of all, and the van takes it to the airport and puts it on a plane, but not a huge plane, and that plane flies to a bigger
Hub.
you know, a bigger airport, a hub where it gets loaded on an even bigger airplane, you know, and that's I think that we're gonna see a lot of that in Star Citizen, same kind of thing. Like you'll have a lot of these smaller outposts around, let's say Hurston or whatever, and those things will want to send cargo or and receive cargo from places, but you're not gonna fly a 747, you know, to those little outposts.
Yeah, I believe it's gonna be very situational. Like if you have hull E, for example, you're not gonna be able to fly cargo from Hurston to fucking moon of the Earth. It's gonna be just ridiculous. You're not gonna be able to fill it up or whatever.
That's also not necessarily gonna mean that the people who are flying those smaller routes are necessarily gonna make anything smaller from a margin perspective. You know what I mean? Like you know, like you might make less total money overall, but your margins are probably gonna, I'm hoping anyways, are gonna be pretty close to the same.
I hope not, because what's gonna push you towards getting to a bigger ship? I think they need to because you have to maintain your ship that is huge. You have to, you know, like.
I don't really want them to push me to a bigger ship, you know? Like I
should
want
have enough, but like if you are like, okay, I have so much money now, and I can afford to get into. Yeah, it's like driving F3, you know, to F2 to F1, and then when you get to F1, you know, you need to pay so much.
But if you want to stay in F2, you know,
you're
like
fine.
you can still, exactly. Yeah, like that's kind of what I'm hoping with cargo hauling to an extent. So like you could be making a good amount of money if you're just flying a freelancer max between like this outpost, this outpost, this outpost, and the main city.
It should feel like you're progressing even in a ship like that. I agree 100%. Like,
yeah.
And you should be able to make enough money to maybe branch out into something completely different, like bounty hunting or whatever the fuck.
Or expand your route, or but that, or just move to some place that's more remote, where people are willing to pay more for that same service. You know what I mean? So like maybe on Hurston, the obvious progression is like start off with a freelancer doing these little like outpost runs, kind of a thing, and then get a bigger ship and then start running across system. But if you are like out in the Nyx system or something like that, hopping around to these like remote outposts or something like that, they might be willing to pay the same amount as if you were running cross system in Stanton. But,
okay.
you're out in Nyx, and there's a little bit more risk involved in that potentially, and
what a tangent. But I like you sparked it. That's the problem now. So I want cargo. Well, we what did, but I want cargo end game to be weekend capital ship, just like with so basically 3 of us are running cargo, whatever. Okay. And then Sunday comes. Okay, boys, we got everything prepared. Let's get into Hull E, and we all together go. We have Hull E as an org, not like personal or whatever, even if it is, but everyone is using it, and then we fill it up together if we want, and then we make really big money because we're gonna say we can use that ship for NPC made missions or whatever, but we can actually utilize it if we collect for a week or two, and then we know we're gonna take this to whatever war area and it's food or whatnot. It is so far away. We're gonna make so we can do it together. Something like that. That'd be fucking cool.
At the same time, it would be cool if there was also kind of like that raid scenario, like weekend raid scenario, where it's like we're still gonna take Freelancer Max, but we're gonna take 4 of them, say, in like a convoy, and we're gonna try to, we're gonna try to get
that's your everyday gameplay that you can do with friends, but like that piles up towards all of us.
Maybe, but what if it was like more of a risky run potentially, like through a blockade or something like that, and you can't do it in a bigger ship because a big ship would just get spotted,
there can be more scenarios than one for sure, 100%. Yeah,
and it would be like something where you'd run them in Star Runners, like a couple Star Runners or something like that, instead of
you run it in Railen because that's where we started with.
Yeah, or Railen, like a couple Railens or something, and that's where it's like it's valuable enough at this point to make sure that you had a fully crewed Railen with like turret gunners and stuff like that on hand in case shit went to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't necessarily want to take more ships because that just increases your signature and increases the chances that you're detected, or something like that. I don't know. It's cool stuff. I think I'm hoping anyways that there's going to be a lot more to the cargo hauling gameplay. That's the feeling I'm getting from what they've talked about so far, and from what we've seen of the Quanta system. I think that
it's Chris, man. Like trading will be one of those like
it's going to be more than just
right.
Yeah, and it's going to be more than just getting the biggest cargo hauler and going from point A to point B. There's going to be more to it than that. At least that's what I'm speculating on, anyways.
I'm hoping for it, but I believe so. Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Luke Presley also did updates to the law prison system, but this is something that they kind of also touched on in ISC or SCL. So maybe let's just move on to ISC and we'll go over some of the law changes when we get to the SCL portion.
Sure. So in the news, basically, we're gonna start with ISC as always. Not like last week. It was completely different. This one was more of, I don't know, man. I'm not really in love with, but I guess they have to do it. It's like they made something, and then we have a saying in Serbia. Okay, I don't know if it's like slightly racist, but how do we say we call them? Nomad, let's say Nomad brags about their horse when they're selling it. It's like the best horse and you should buy it. But they're like bragging about it, like
they're talking it up, but it's not necessarily true.
So well, even if it is, how I don't like in real life, if someone comes to you and is like, dude, I'm so good at this, it's so strange. Usually you want to hear that from someone else or make your own conclusion about that person. Then if someone comes to me and says like, oh man, I'm really the best Star Citizen player in the world, I'd be like, okay, dude. Whatever, bro. I don't care. But so this is what happens always with ISC when they make something, and to their credit, usually when they make new things like Horizon in this case, it's fucking amazing. It looks good. It feels good. I'm not trying to say that what they're saying is not correct or anything. It's just so weird to me. They're like, oh my god, Pedro Camacho, who I love Pedro, he's amazing. He's like, I think this is the best music. This is the best. I don't like
but
that.
you're an artist.
Yeah.
So like you can kind of empathize with the idea that like, like your latest creation might feel like the best because you're so invested in it. You know what I mean?
You're obviously not an artist. You're never satisfied. That's the truth. I think these people
but if you get to a point where you're satisfied enough to release it,
then you're not an artist.
Okay.
So and this is what I feel like with these devs. I don't especially Pedro. I don't think. I think in ISC like this, they're kind of puppets in a way. They are told to do this. I don't feel like this is a natural thing where they're like talking about how good they did something. This is the best thing we did. That's just not. I don't know, man. Maybe where I come from is different, but it just feels like I don't know, that marketing or whatever department. Whenever there's something I don't like, it's marketing. So it's like marketing department told them, you talk this up, like this is your best thing ever, we need numbers, right? And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it could be that, but like when I watched this, I just saw them as just stoked because they'd spent however many hundreds of hours working on this, and they're really excited about it because it's the latest thing they worked on, especially, and I'm not sure if this is the case because I haven't tracked whether or not it's the same artists working on Orison versus like ArtCorp, Microtech, etc. But like if you were one of those artists who started and you worked on Hurston first and then you worked on ArtCorp after that and you were like, oh, that's so much better, and then you worked on Microtech afterwards and you got to take all of what you'd learned from Hurston and ArtCorp and apply that to Microtech and make it that much better, and then you took all of that and then applied it to Orison and put all that passion in the stuff that you learned, I could see them being like, this is the best, because you got to basically learn, and then just apply it onto this like latest thing. You know what I mean?
I am not denying that that's probably a fact that it's the best. There's no problem with that.
Well, I'm not even necessarily saying that it is necessarily, just that the people who are working on it would maybe feel that way if they've had that kind of like history. This is all speculation, but like to me when I watched this, it looked like they were just stoked about what they were working on. They're just excited because they got it, and it looked like, let's be honest, it looks fucking great.
That's
like,
what
it looks
marketing
really good.
wants you to feel like.
Whatever, it looks good. It's what Star Citizen is good at.
It looks great. It looks great. So regardless of
really
what their presentation, I might not like it or like it, doesn't matter. But the fact is, Orison looks so good that I was like, I gotta go there and check it out. Which is something we talk about. Like, I'm not excited about the new planet. I don't care. It's all the same shit. I was gonna
say exactly this.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go and check because it looks good, and I'm gonna go and wait for a sunset, and sunrise and stuff like that. And
fuck it, go to that platform, like the guy said, and just like stand off, like so you're like looking at. That's it. I mean, we basically shit all over it. Well, didn't really shit all over it, but like talked down about Orison for the last like however many episodes, basically saying that it's just a landing zone and it's not really going to make that big a difference.
Not.
But like, it's not. But goddamn, it looks good.
It looks great. But that's again, like we go back to like currently Star Citizen is a screenshot machinima factory.
Yeah. Yes, basically, and that's basically just more of it. Yeah,
and it's mind blowing how good it is and all. But like, it's honestly like a week from the release, everyone's going to forget about it because it's forever,
100%.
And then next time, then when they implement more, like whatever, like hospitals, like whatever, when they breathe life into this, because don't forget, like, we're getting Orison in 3.14, but we're just getting a skeleton Orison basically. There's going to be nothing there, right? So nothing. It's like the empty space where you can jump to. And not to like downplay it or anything. It's kind of even better for because there's nothing happening. So having this in 2 blocks kind of gives them something, I guess. But that's the fact. Like, nothing's going to change in the game because we have Orison now.
No, but it does look really fucking good.
It looks good.
The I can't. Did they do the cloud tech in ISC? I don't remember.
I think. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah. The clouds. That's something I'm really. Listen, once we have clouds on like all of the This music is killing me. I don't know what's happening. Once we have clouds like everywhere, I just want to go and fly. Like this limits me a lot. And I think when you will be able like to fly above and under the clouds, the quantum sensitive missions immediately get like boost in how exciting they are. Like there's these little things that change certain parts of the game that we don't even think about. Like this is what crossed my mind, but there's like a lot more that for sure I'm not even thinking about, you know, and it will
what
change.
I kind of wonder is if we'll see like low flyers become a little bit different as well, you know what I mean? So you might do like some low flying and then go up into the clouds and then like deke around some clouds and stuff like that and then go back down low.
I'm sure Terada, and it's not, at some point it's going to become more than a low flying. It's going to be like more of an artistic form of flying, like, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope, actually, this is another tangent, but just a short one. I really hope for two things. We know already Chris loves what Terada does, and not only Terada, but we know he loves low flying and all that. And I hope that they expand on this, because there's a whole group of people that will use this game as just like flying sim for them to like enjoy and make machinimas and whatnot. And they're beautiful to watch. So I want clouds, when you fly through a cloud, down the road, right? I'm not expecting that now with the new cloud tech or whatever, but when you fly through a cloud, I want us to affect the cloud, so maybe bring a little bit with us to have a little bit of trail and whatnot. The other thing that I want them to allow low flyers and like flyers in general, let them have like fancy, you know, gas ejection, whatever the fuck, you know, to make the trail like in different colors or whatever, so when like three of them are flying together in a formation and they can like, you know, like with the especially in states, like when you watch like an NFL game or whatever, and then there's like a flyover, or in Formula 1, if you're in Italy, there's going to be like 9 planes with like 3 colors of an Italian flag or whatever. It's so good. It's just like, I hope they get something like that. That's a tangent. I'm sorry about that.
I would be surprised if they didn't, because like they're doing the dust trails and stuff like that based on the vector thrust and stuff like that. Like on the ground, we saw that.
And it sells a product, man. Like when people see artistic form of flying in a game, it's like it draws them into it. They see themselves in it. It's just, it works. But I don't see a downside to it.
No, me either.
Okay, so it was all about Dorison, like first 2/3 of the IC.
And at first, I will say, at first I was bitter about that. I was like, oh my god, more. But
it's okay. They showed the almost like complete product, and it looks fucking good.
It looks really good. Yeah, it does.
Credit where credit's due. I don't like the way that they represent it, but I like what they made. Fuck it, I like it.
It's good.
After that, we had the sprint report, and there's like just Jared going over some things. Taurus is coming in the game. We could see it actually, like visually. Then we have a new ship UI. We can like see it. Like this is something I'm excited for. Like you can see the ages. They said they were. He said they're working on Drake, and I've heard this a lot. But is that coming in 3.14 or not? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Not the They talked about this, I think, in SCL.
Okay.
They are putting in the new HUDs, but they're not going to be manufacturer specific. So you're going to have I can't remember what they call them, slideshow HUDs or something.
Whatever, yeah. But I'm glad that they're changing something. HUD
so they'll be recolored depending on your manufacturer.
I saw that, yeah. Someone asked if we can change the color or not, and then they said not now.
Yeah.
So Drake will have orange, Aegis will have like white with the tint of blue, whatever, and you know.
But eventually they'll actually have their own manufacturer specific. So Aegis HUD will look this way, and Drake HUD will look this way, and
they announced they showed new scanning, which I think it looks very interesting.
I think it looks good. It definitely is better than what it looks like now.
So just to explain, so what we have now is if you press tab to get into scanner mode and then hold the key and then release, you release this energy around you, and then you see like big squares. For pinging, it's not bad. in space, but for scanning it's just like so scuffed. I never liked it. Like from the day one I never liked it. It just looked like really funny compared to Eve. I'm sorry, but like it just like I was expecting more something like that. The new one looks so appealing to, just look at, because you have this like the whole UI is much, the resolution, the UI scale is so much better. Everything is more slicker on your screen, and then you release the pulse and it covers the area in front of you, like and then like the lines go from the bottom up, and you have these little squares that like circle around, and it's like so much like more appealing to eye, right? So I'm looking forward to this. Is when I said like maybe mining again, because I hate planet mining right now. Like if I'm mining in the asteroid fields, which is
that's weird. I'm the opposite. I'd much rather mine on a planet.
But one of the reasons is like hate seeing these squares on the planet. It's like so funny to me. It pisses me off.
Right.
So if they change this, I might actually try doing it on a planet as well. Fuck you, Spotify. Okay. It just stops like in the middle of the track. I don't know what that is.
I don't like Spotify.
It only happens when we're recording. Like never, like when I'm streaming, it never happens. When I'm listening on my own, it never happens. It's only when we're last few episodes.
Huh. I wonder if it's a Windows thing.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay. So then we had, where am I? They announced Xenothread and Ninetales, which we kind of knew about already, but so Xenothread is being, we talked about this like in depth last episode. Not gonna stop there for a long time. Like they're just like, we're having Xenothread again, and then Ninetales. We're gonna talk about that in the next one in SCL, because they explained actually how it's gonna happen. And we have Surrender, which Jared seemed so excited about it. I think it's not important right now. I mean, it's important to have it in the game, and it's good that it works, but right now it doesn't bring absolutely nothing to your gameplay, because even if you surrender, like there's no difference in what happens next. So
that's the other, like I was absolutely shocked that it doesn't actually lower your sentence right now, because I figured that would be something that they would do right now to make it as a used function. But yes, it was confirmed in SCL by Todd Pappy that it does nothing.
It's okay.
It doesn't even reduce your sentence. But
we did ask them to throw things in when they have it done and not wait forever to do it, and I see that as an example. Okay, there you go. We're done with Surrender. It doesn't have any implications in the game, but you can have it. Maybe, I don't know, people might RP with it. I don't know. Whatever.
I guess. I'm not gonna.
Me neither. But it's good. It's not a bad thing that we have a Surrender, right? It's part of the game, and in future patches it will come handy when we can actually use it. Okay.
Yeah.
So then we have SCL, and it was a good SCL.
There was a lot in there for sure.
It was this time it was better SCL than ISC in terms of value of like how much information we gathered from it, right?
Yeah.
It was both good and disappointing at the same time for me, but not like, more of like, again, it's not surprising. It's more of like how slow the development is, which I'm not trying to point finger. It's more like, not yet. There was so many short answer no, not in 3.14 and stuff like that. There was so many of answers like that. It was basically just proving that 3.14 will bring nothing to the game.
We should be used to that by now. But yes, I mean, we definitely have already concluded that the only thing of substance that's coming to 3.14 is the capacitors, basically. That's the only thing that's really going to make a change in the way.
So let's take on capacitors right now, because that's the biggest change, right? Because it's happening. I was very disappointed with what they had to say.
I wasn't. I basically decided that, like, yes, it could end up being terrible, but I don't care at this point. I just, like, it's going to be something that is going to make things very difficult, different. And I'm just up for that. Like they said, John Crew said in this SCL that they changed like every stat basically on ships. They changed like all the hit points, etc. And I just like, even if it is an absolute floating dumpster fire for a little bit, fine. It's something different. It's gonna make you approach combat differently. It's gonna make PvP very different, and I think that's just good at this point. Like it's just something else.
I would agree with you if I did not hear them say one thing, which is like just to make it clear, first iteration. I don't care. It's gonna be an absolute shit show at the beginning, and I don't care about that. Like that's fine with me, 100%. Yeah, it's gonna piss me off and all that, but I don't care. I understand the first iteration, and then it's good because that's how they test it. They're gonna make it better, I'm sure. Reason I was very disappointed was them saying you don't have to use this. They literally said that you don't have to use that. You can continue doing bounty hunting missions without ever using capacitors.
I think that is a temporary thing. But also at the same time, I'm glad, because the ultimate goal of a game is accessibility but depth. You know what I mean? And that's what I got from that statement, was that like it's going to be accessible if you are just more, you feel like just being more casual, you know, like you can take on missions where you don't have to move that around. But if you come into harder situations, or specifically against other players that are actively using that sort of power management, you are going to be at a disadvantage. And I like that. I you know, like hard, what is it? Easy to play, hard to master.
Mark my words. It will be. They will not use it in PvP either. Like they will try it and they're gonna be like, oh my god, it's so taxing. And the person who is not using it is going to be like have, you know, much more stable experience and will win every PvP battle. I could be wrong.
I think that you could be right for the first implementation for sure, because like we said, I mean, like when it I think even they said like they expect it to basically come in and be basically put into the PU as like, test this for us, please.
Sure, but
yeah.
On that, if it's useless, you know, especially PvP community, like a lot of people just not use it. So how are you going to test it? So this is why I'm kind of disappointed with.
Well, this is it.
You don't have to use it.
Yeah, but if they're not getting any data from it, you can tell that it's, you know, like, okay, go fix it. If
but what are you fixing if no one's using it? This is why, like later down the road, make it so that people don't have to use it. But now, when you're developing it, I really thought you would just have to use a capacitor. You know what? I'm not going to use it. I think it's overcomplicated my game. Like I'm not really a combat fighter, and I'm not going to use capacitors. So who's going to use it? PvPers, unless they figure out it's useless. And then who's going to use it? No one.
I'm gonna set up my my bindings and stuff, and I'm definitely gonna play around with it. But I see what you're saying. Like if it ends up being too much effort for, you know, not enough actual benefit, then yeah, I mean,
I think it's gonna be even worse than
nobody's
that.
Gonna use it.
I think because when you use your capacitor for something, you're screwing up something else and we're not used to it. Like the truth is, we're used to doing whatever the fuck we want without any issues. And now you're like, okay, here's a tool that you can use to your advantage, but it comes with disadvantage. But you don't have to use it. You can still do everything without any repercussions. So that I'm afraid that, you know, you're gonna try doing it, and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, I burned my engines. Fuck this, you know.
It's entirely possible. Yeah, it's entirely possible. I'm hoping that it's not, but I will acknowledge that, like, in the initial implementation, it might end up that way. I just hope it doesn't stay that way. I like the idea that if you were a new player, you could jump in and potentially play without having to worry about it for the first little bit, but if you want it to become more competitive, that you end up having to kind of like start to use similar to like let's use WoW for an example. Like ultimately, if you're just leveling and stuff like that and doing like generic kind of like
you're not
low-end
min-maxing,
PvE,
you don't need gear,
yeah,
you
you
don't
don't
need
have to worry
macros.
about. Yeah,
But I gave you the
exactly. So, like,
solution to this already. Starter
is that?
ships don't have capacitors, they're optional equipment. That's it. If you're flying a fighter ship,
that is one thing that they said in this show, actually, is that they wanted to eventually have the capacitors as their own component that can be swapped in and out.
and then like certain ships, if because what do I care if I have a capacitor in Aurora, unless I'm Noodle and I want to like screw someone's day, in an Aurora for content, which I love Noodle, by the way. Don't think that I'm talking about, you guys don't think that I'm talking about against him. That is one of my favorite streamers. But that's what I'm saying. Like, sure, you can add that to your little Aurora or Mustang, whatever the fuck. But as a new player, you don't want to deal with it, right?
But if you're an advanced player, who's like say we're just after a reset or whatever, into beta or something. If you're an advanced player, you could basically utilize that capacitor to take on missions way higher than you should be able to be taking on in your Aurora, because you're good enough to like basically be able to adjust the power around and stuff like that.
So to clarify, I'm not disappointed with the implementation of capacitors in general. I cannot be, because I want to see how they work. Like I always give it a fair try. But I kind of wish we had to use them, because how else I just feel like
we'll see. You could be right, but like thankfully we don't have to wait long for this one, because like hopefully we should have PTU in the next couple days.
And I don't trust him. Like, that. Yep. I'm gonna piss you off, but I wouldn't be surprised if 314 lands and we don't have capacitors still.
It's already confirmed though.
Sure.
So
like until I have it in game, I don't trust anything like anymore.
You know what? That's actually probably the best the best standpoint to take. So I don't know. It could end up being really good. You're right. It initially I would say that it's more likely that it's probably a dumpster fire at first until they dial things in. But at the very least, I'm still holding to the fact that I'm glad that they're coming, because even if they break it entirely, it's going to change. It's going to change things. But
maybe that's why. Maybe they know it's going to fuck everything up, and that's why they were like, you don't have to use them. So once that everything's fucked up, they can say, hey guys, you can play the game the way you did until the patch. So fuck off. Let us work on it.
I guess you're right. That is kind of the worst case scenario, is that it doesn't actually change anything.
Like patch known issues, capacitors, like solution, do not use capacitors.
I don't know how it would not change things though, if they literally said that they've gone and like changed the values for like every ship.
No, that on its own is interesting, either good or bad. I don't know. I cannot judge that until I see it.
Probably both.
Here's the
depending
thing,
on your ship.
I was very confused about capacitors in the first place, and I did not know how to explain this. But for me, triangle is like a failed version of capacitor. The power triangle that we have right now. And now we have a power triangle and a capacitor. And for me, it is like an absolute bullshit. Like, why do I need like two capacitors basically? And even they talked about the power triangle. They were like, this is not how we intended triangle to work. And I still don't know. Like that's such a funny thing for me. Like I still don't know what the fuck is going on with that. Are they going to remove it completely, or? Because what is power triangle if not the capacitor?
It's basically where you're directing your so you have a capacitor that can direct to. Wait, do you have 3 separate capacitors? Now I don't know. I thought you had a capacitor for weapons, engines, and shields, and then basically the triangle diverts power to either of those capacitors.
I think capacitors are completely different from triangle, and I think that's what they were trying to say. That I think they kind of accepted that they failed with the triangle in this SCL.
No, in the SEL, they actually said that the power triangle is going to make more sense than it did, because the way that John Crew talked about it is like up until this point, the power triangle really doesn't do anything.
Well, yeah, but almost like that they're making capacitors because they failed with the triangle. It's like
No, I mean maybe, but like that's not how I interpreted it.
they literally said like it doesn't do what it's supposed to.
Well, specifically what they said was that like if your component has enough power, i.e. engines for example, as in your reactor is providing enough power for that engine to perform at whatever capacity it wants to or it needs to, it moving that triangle around doesn't do anything. It just changes basically where the reactor is prioritizing the power it's delivering. But yeah, again, like if you have a power plant that's able to provide power to all of those components, then moving the triangle around is nothing. So I'm gonna have to listen to it again, but in the SEL, I'm pretty sure they said specifically that now that power triangle will have a much more direct effect on changes to that power triangle rather will have a much more direct effect on what what those components can actually do. So
this is why it's so hard to talk about this before we get it. Like it's just so hard because they can say whatever the fuck they want. Because they maybe played with it, or they are, talking about how it should work, but in reality, we don't know anything.
We don't. Yeah.
It's very difficult.
That'll be something. Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that again because I thought I had it figured out in my head, but then you like kind of called me on it, and I was like, oh.
Here's the thing I forgot to say. Like, I got really pissed off, and I did a tweet, and I added Escolando and Cloud Imperium Games, and obviously they did not respond to it, and a lot of people were pissed off about this. How the fuck? And actually, like 40 minutes in, Jared acknowledges this. The sound issues, man. Like Todd Poppy was 10 times louder than anyone else. And he's like,
and guys? Jared was really quiet too. Like,
but he changed his. Then he was loudest of them all, and he's like, "We're not changing anything, like you morons." Like that's how I felt. And I'm like, "Are you fucking serious, dude? Like, how many people in your audience does content creation, and how many streams do you end up? How many podcasts do you watch?" And you're not wrong. And you can't fucking ever, like, there's always two things. The levels are all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Fucking do a sound check. Don't you, if you're using Teams or whatever the fuck you're using and it's not working out, fucking change it. Guess what? Discord works.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck. Learn how to, you're streaming to OBS like everyone else does. Use fucking filters. What the fuck is wrong with it? Like, you're a 600 people company that has fucking paid content weekly that you can't
let's be honest, like Jared literally, like you have a team that is dedicated to this sort of content. I did notice
this
that
triggers me so much every time. It's either Jared breathing into the microphone all the time.
He did a lot this
course
time.
every time. It's every time. and I don't know if he thinks it's funny. But like
I don't think so. I actually came inside and talked to Leah. I was like, Leah, I cannot believe this. This guy, like he's been doing this for, and he's like whistle nose breathing into the mic.
Yes.
And I can't stand it.
Filter it out, dude. It's so simple. And the other thing is they're gonna say, well, working from home or whatever. Well, I don't care. We all work from, like, look at this. What do you think this is?
Am I breathing into my mic right now? I'm not breathing into my mic. Yeah.
Come on, guys. Like, just fucking fix that shit.
This is...
He will get a boot from me if he doesn't fix it. Like, fuck you, dude.
This is probably sounding a little like pedantic at this point, but it is like, I mean, it is crazy to me how this is literally your job or somebody underneath your job. And the sound is so consistently bad in SCL.
I said, literally, my tweet was, invite me to the call, I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
It's like, let me in, I'll help you set it up. Of course they're not going to do it, but how many people would hop in and help them if they can? But it's not even, you don't need to be a sound engineer, sound tech to set up the fucking filters in OBS or whatever the fuck are you, like, come on, man.
Can you tell that Chegg and I listen to this stuff when we have headphones in? Because, like, I gotta tell you, like, I had a real hard time listening to that. I was out with my headphones in, and it's like, I would turn it up to listen to Jared because he was too quiet, and then like Todd Pappy or John Crew would talk, and I'd be like,
I jumped in my chair. Exactly. Like, what the fuck,
my
dude?
headphones out.
And then people complain because it's live, and he's like, you morons, it changes on its own. Like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say morons, but that's how it came up.
It did, and that's the thing. Like, I will say, like, this to a lot of people is probably a minor complaint, and especially in the grand scheme of Star Citizen as a whole, this is a minor complaint. But
it's an easy fix. That's the first. Like, you're lazy if you don't fix it.
And on top of that, on top of the fact that it's an easy fix, it did feel kind of shitty the way he addressed it. You know, in that, like, you know, that kind of. You're right. It did feel a little bit like he was talking down to everybody in chat.
If it was a streamer or a YouTube channel, I would never fucking ever go there again. Like, if it wasn't Star Citizen, I wouldn't come back.
If they responded like that and they said, like, well, you know, like, yeah, I agree. I'd be like, okay, well, I'll just go find a different.
Here's the thing: if it happens sometimes, and you say like, I don't know, you know, sorry guys, like, it happened to me. I'm very aware of my son. I have issues with power, and when I have to like turn on AC,
don't patronize us.
I tell my chat, like, guys, I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn on the AC because I can't stand it. I know it's gonna fuck up the sound, right? Like, address that properly, and then it's different. But you cannot be CIG and not have a proper fucking sound levels. There's no.
They have a whole team. Anyways, yes, sound was bad in this SCL.
I had to do this.
No, that's legit. I was thinking it literally this morning as well. And again, I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my god, these guys are so salty about the smallest shit.
Get the fuck out if you don't understand that. I don't care, man. Like,
well,
that's my.
See, I'll be the opposite, and I'll say, like, I get it. This might seem pedantic, but you know, but come on, they have a whole team for this, paid professionals. Come on,
$500 million in funding cannot set up a fucking sound. Fuck you, dude. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For 2 years. Speaking about things not changing since I started playing Star Citizen.
I guess
every time I actually skipped some of the SCLs because I'm like, I can't listen to this, like, fair. Breathing into microphone.
I'll since we're kind of on the salt, if you don't like the salt or whatever, skip ahead a little bit further because I'm just gonna double down on it for a second. But I gotta say, the tone of Jared's voice when he talks about like just how open development they are. Which is mostly true. Like, honestly, CIG shows a lot more of their development than most other projects out there, besides like very small indie projects. But then he talks about like holding back stuff for like the wow moment that we get. And then he goes on to use Orison as an example, and it's like, buddy, we've been seeing Orison for the last month. You've been showing us ISCs that are almost solely focused on Orison. That's a really bad example. We lost the wow moment. I'm not gonna lie. The latest ISC we saw, admittedly, Orison was really good. But I'm sorry, there was no wow moment there, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, thank you for holding that back, because you didn't do that.
It's such a bullshit take.
It totally is.
What the problem is, it's like unnecessary. Like, you don't need to explain it. Just shut the fuck up. Like,
and the bullshit like patronizing tone that he takes about, like, sometimes we hold things back from you it's like,
this is the disconnect. When people use disconnect with like game, like, Blizzard is always on the poster for this, like, disconnect with your player base, disconnect with your community. And I often disagree with this. I very, very often disagree with this. I think people don't get what they want and disconnect. But in this case, like you are literally backed by the people who listen to you, and you don't have to say there's no need for this. Just shut up and keep going. You're delaying things from day one. You're delaying things why are you delaying for the wow moment? We don't have pyro now because of the wow moment, maybe? Is that what it is? We don't have Banu Merchantman because of the wow moment.
No. Sorry, that's not what they were saying.
I know, but I'm asking now.
Seeing the progress on it, but like,
you can. If are they hunting for the wow moment with everything? I want to know. Are we not having a tier 1 salvaging because of the wow moment?
No, I think it's frankly, like, given his example, it's fucking arbitrary, because like we've been seeing hospitals and Orison and Gas Cloud Tech and what's the other one, the settlements and stuff like that for like months now. So where's the wow moment there? You're showing us literally from like gray box upwards. Like just choose. Personally, I would prefer to see it from gray box upwards, even if I get kind of bored of it after the like 6th time you've shown it. But like, don't talk to me about like holding stuff back for the wow moment. Like, come on.
Okay.
I'm not a child, Jared. Like,
I'd be okay with holding stuff for wow moment if we had consistent stream of wow moments. Right?
Yeah.
If we get the wow moment once a year, and that's like hospital or another planet, then
or once a quarter.
Good luck keeping people around if you're gonna, and then if it's not a wow moment because no one's gonna be wow with the hospitals, then don't call it a wow moment. There's no need for that. Okay.
Yeah. The wow moments for me are gameplay related and game design related, right? Like those are the ones that are gonna really. Though what
was a wow moment?
I'm not. Sorry, what was a wow moment?
Was there ever a wow moment in the game?
Yes. Seeing Tony Z's Quanta system at 2920. What
about like in-game implementation? We had some straight to flat. Oh, Nomad was kind of wow for me.
Well, I had a few of those wow moments, like going to 3.0, and like landing on a moon for the first time.
Imagine.
That was a wow moment. And going into 2.0 and like walking out onto Port Olisar and seeing the huge fucking gas giant there, that was a wow moment for me.
Okay, fair.
Getting object container streaming and going from like 20 frames a second to like 60 frames a second was like, that was a wow moment.
Well, that did not last long.
It actually lasted quite a bit. It's only recently that things have started to dive.
Well, I haven't had 60 frames ever.
Kind of leads into another thing that they talked about in STL, and I don't know, this might trigger you, so I don't know, maybe I'm sorry, maybe I'm not sorry, I don't know.
Sorry, not sorry.
They talked about basically how they're not going to stop development and stop putting things in as a result of performance in SCL. They basically said they're putting Orison in. They don't give a fuck what it's going to do to the servers because they have to they have to push it out. And like, I don't know, like in a way, I think that there's something there, right? Like possibly for a topic, because this is where, remember how I talked about before we went on air that I just basically resolved to the fact that it's not a game. Like I'm not calling this a game anymore. It is a project. And like that right there, that one statement, that one line in SCL kind of proved that to me. Because if it were a game, the focus would be on the performance and the experience more than putting the next piece of development.
And I know this. It just pisses me off that they use it whenever they want, like however suits them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the reality
it's
is,
a live service.
It's just not the game. Like
and
it's nowhere near. You know how I feel about it. I think 10 years maybe. that we get the game. And
I'm not even talking whens at this point. I'm just basically more so talking about like how a couple episodes, might have been last episode, I can't remember. We talked about how we weren't sure how they were going to put Orison in, and it looked like they might not put Orison in for performance reasons because it's still not officially confirmed on the roadmap. But after this last SCL, I think it's pretty clear they're going to ram it in there, even if it completely tanks the server performance more than it even is.
Until I see it in game, I don't believe it.
Fair enough. But like at this point, like after that statement, I wouldn't be surprised if they crammed Crusader in there and Orison, and if we get even worse desync because they've rammed all those more like more entities onto the server.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they bring it in and it just like works better. I don't know.
Maybe, because they did also say that like Todd Pappy even actually flat out said when they asked him about positional desync, he said, yes, we fully acknowledge this is like a huge thing with the game right now, and it is a big priority for them.
But see, that's the thing. In that point, he takes it as a game because they are like prioritizing desync. But I don't take that shit because
Happy's position, like that is literally he's the director of the persistent universe. So
dude, if they cared about that, they would just fucking use a proper servers, right? Or like start using AVS or whatever the fuck. If you are not, and
I don't think it's that. I think it's probably optimization. I don't think it's the server, the server hardware. From what I've heard them say, anyways, I don't think it's them running on shitty servers. I think it's just the game client itself is shitty.
I would be very surprised if they're not running it on shitty servers.
They addressed this not too long ago. I'll have to dig back and see if I can find it. Please do,
because it would just be like, and to be fair, if you're selling it as a game, then you need to start using good servers. If you're not, then it's okay using shit servers and saying, well, it's servers. But
yeah. See, I think it is. I'll try to find it, but I'm pretty sure they addressed not too long ago the fact that they are actually using beast servers, but the game itself
beast servers or like servers that they're gonna use when the game launches, because there's a beast server, and then I don't know much about this, but I'm aware that like AVS servers are super expensive and are the best that you can have, which is what Amazon provides. And I would be surprised if that's what they are paying for now. Like I don't know, but I might be like full of shit here. Like don't take my word seriously here. But from what I figured out, like they are.
Ask Darge. Darge will know.
He will know, or he will pretend that he knows.
No, he'll know if it was done in a video.
Oh, that for sure he knows. Yeah.
And then I'll be able to get back to you on that.
He's sloppy lately with that. Like he's not updating his stuff anymore, and it's our fault because we mentioned it and shared it, and then he just stopped.
I'll ask him anyways, and I'll see if he. But I'm pretty sure they addressed the fact that they are still they're actually running on really high-end servers. It's just the fact that it might have actually been in the dev responses. Now that I think about it. They just said that there's just issues with the game, the way that the game is doing, like the render thread stuff, and I don't know. Anyways, I'll get back to you on that one. But I'm pretty sure they are actually running on top spec servers. It's just game
that scares me. Like I honestly would like to, know that they're not using the servers that they're going to be using later. Because
I don't know. I think I would rather it be an optimization thing because then they can optimize, right?
So why don't they optimize then?
Because you don't optimize when you're still building a game. I mean,
so you never optimize then.
Todd Pappy said that he said right there that like they fix 1,000 issues and 1,000 more pop up.
Sure.
And until you're finished adding chunks onto the game, you don't bother.
But you also say you're never going to finish adding to the game. So what does that leave us with?
It's like, for example, like WoW, you can if you're getting to a point where you're adding on expansions like WoW or a game like that, you basically can optimize those things before you plug them into the game. But right now, where you're still building the game for things to plug into,
Okay,
you know,
Valheim.
what about Valheim?
Is it optimized?
No, God, no.
From what
Like,
I've
runs
seen,
okay, but it's not.
it runs
definitely
more than
not.
okay. Like even on lower spec rigs and everything. Now, obviously, it's less of a demanding game, but
It's definitely not optimized. I can tell you that. But yeah, like there's just part, like, first of all, there's memory leaks like crazy in that game, and yeah. Anyways,
but it feels like it's optimized to a point where you can play until like something bad happens. While in Star Citizen, you just can't play.
Yeah.
Everything is fucked up.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I think, like, this is the thing. Like Valheim, for example, is an early access, so I would put that more into beta, for example, than alpha. And again, I mean, I'm just going off of like stuff I've read and stuff like that. So I don't take anything I'm saying as like for sure.
Nah, we don't know this, but
no. But like, from what I understand is, like, when you're still building the code that the that the game is supposed to use to be a game, you don't bother optimizing.
Unless you were selling it as a game and you have so many
You're
players.
selling it as a game, yes, yep. Yeah,
you have
for
so many
sure.
players, and you like their
That's
words.
why it's not a game. It's not a game.
Yeah,
Fucking
but if
sell it as an alpha and just stick to it being an alpha.
I know, but
Like, just,
still, like
yeah.
you want. So they said there's only so many QA testers, and then we have you guys. But then how are we even testing? We can't do anything in the game. It's like it's so counterproductive. Like there's so many conflicts here.
If it's bad enough that all you're doing is sending in crash data, that's still something that they can't do with a smaller QA team.
Yeah, but what is it in for me, man? Like I paid $800 to just send crash data. That's what I'm testing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm not doing that. Like, I don't care.
That's fair enough. That's why I'm not playing right now, and that's why I'm not going to call it a game.
Well, yeah,
but
like, yeah, you can opt out. Sure, that's your choice, and I can, and I did. But is that a solution?
Not really. The only thing we can really do at this point is like hope that when they get their, for example, like their render thread tech and stuff like that, that it fixes stuff. But like that's basically where we're at, right? Like it's not going to be the game that a lot of people want this to be. Yeah, for God knows how long, and that's always the question. It's the thing we've talked about like time and time again in our episodes. Like, I mean, they'll either keep doing this and eventually the funding will dry up and the game will stall and fail, or they'll pull it off.
What do you think about like? Well, this is so fucking crazy, but I'm just gonna fire it out.
Imagine.
What if they allowed us to have like single player Star Citizen?
Oh, like private servers, like they talked about in the Kickstarter.
Like right now, not when the game launches. I don't know about that, but like right now, if you could like be just client side only, and no one else on the server.
Yeah.
Well, almost like no server, right? Where you're just like connected so that you can send a report, but you can do things on your own. Like what
like that idea, actually.
Elite Dangerous
really.
I don't want this like in the end game at all, like in the game at all, but like as an idea right now, where like in Elite Dangerous you can just play on your own, but you're still like affecting economy and everything, but you don't see another player ever because you opted out of it. Right?
Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah. And you're like it's why I'm saying reinventing the wheel, but it's fine. So that's what they have. Like everyone's playing in the same world, but 90% of the players are playing single player game in a shared world. You know what else does that? That's Stranding, where you play on your own in your client. But if you and me play the game and I built a staircase and you get to that point on your own, you're going to find my staircase and you will be able to use it. Yeah.
Interesting.
But we never see each other. But like if I affect the terrain, that you will have the terrain affected. So if they would do that while they're like alpha testing and whatever, and you can like for PvP, he wants to be in there or whatever. I like having other people around, so I'm gonna be there. But like you might not like it, and you just go in like I just want to hold today.
I think that would be great for. Honestly, I don't. Okay.
Maybe
like
it's
that
like
idea,
so super complex to make. I don't know.
But I don't. I wouldn't. One, like you said, I wouldn't want that to be like long term how it was.
Do
like,
we
I
even
don't
care?
Want
like if you're like honest.
I really do, to be honest. Like I don't want. Like I want to play in a universe.
Sure,
with
but
other people, and if people don't want to play that, and people want to play a single player game, go play Elite. That's never what Star Citizen has.
But they're affecting your world still. You know what? I don't know anymore.
I know.
I'm
I
so confused,
definitely don't like that. Here's the thing: like, if you could be like right now in the alpha scenario, like if you wanted to just like get solid frames and no disconnects and stuff like that, just to like get B-roll if you're a content creator or something.
Oh yeah.
Sure. I like that. I don't want it to affect the universe. So if you're playing single player and and you want to then decide to play multiplayer, I'm sorry, you don't get to take your billions of credits that you've earned single player into multiplayer.
But why? Like because so far people have been cheating so much.
Yeah, okay, that's not what I'm saying. Like I said, for alpha, sure, do whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
But when we get into like the like beta, basically, or beta plus or whatever the fuck, in early access, let's call it early access instead of alpha. When you get into early access instead of alpha, I'm sorry, but I don't want you to basically be able to run all those super high, quote unquote, high risk runs in single player, earn all this money, and then jump into the multiplayer environment with all that money. I just no.
Oh wait, but if that money was made out of, it's affecting Quanta still. You just don't see that person. That's what I'm saying, because you are like me, but at the same time, we are probably not aware how irrelevant players will be in Star Citizen.
That's true. That's true.
And this is where I said like 50 players per server or 500 players per server or whatever. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, because you're just not going to understand affect like how we affect the game. And I think they're doing that on purpose. Like And in that case, possible. Am I okay with like people who don't want to be bothered just doing it? Like maybe with some limitations. If it's something super valuable and whatnot, like, or raid or whatever, or then you have to be on a server, you have to be visible, whatever. Like the mission is grayed out for you, and it's like this is only doable in the open world or whatever the fuck,
Yeah, or even potentially like there's just certain components that I guess that's it, right? Like I guess ultimately this depends on the player base size. Because if the player base is big enough, I'm sorry, I would like there to be the option to split off for those private servers, because that's something that they promised in the Kickstarters. But I wouldn't necessarily want those things to cross over. But if the player base is smaller and we're like on more sharded servers, and with the player to NPC ratios and stuff like that, it still becomes something that's more rare to see a player anyways, then I guess you're right. I guess it wouldn't really.
I don't think we're seeing World of Warcraft / Final Fantasy / Guild Wars 2 in space with Star Citizen. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Is like, yeah.
I hope
I'm
might
wrong
be right.
well.
You might be right, but I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, same.
That's it. Yeah.
Like let's see. I think this is what I think a lot of people don't understand, and I might be wrong about this as well. But I want to see. I am super excited to play New World, because it's using the same tech as Star Citizen, but just like on much smaller map, right? And I want to see how it goes, like if it's gonna flop or not. And I think if New World, backed by Amazon Game Studios, comes out and after a year is a dead game, we're not getting full-fledged MMO out of Star Citizen. I'm telling you right now, like there's no way that's gonna happen.
I don't know if that's a good example, just given what I've heard about Amazon Game Studios up until this point. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but they work together, man. Like there's like CIG is developing tech for Amazon, and they are like in this together
for them. But and they're relying on them from a tech perspective. But man, the like Amazon trying to run their own game studio so far. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but it has been an utter train wreck. Just canceled project after canceled project after canceled project.
I'll tell you one more thing,
just, like incompetent management.
Maybe. The fact is, Amazon has so many enemies. It's like worldwide. I'll give you another like parallel example. Coca-Cola is the most sold soft drink in the world by far. Yeah. And being that, and I'm not even talking about like Coca-Cola company. Like they have so many drinks and water and whatnot, right? But being that it's killing so many smaller productions, right? So there's this general knowledge around the world that Coca-Cola is the worst thing you can drink, right? The worst thing ever you can drink. If you say someone like it's worse than alcohol, and we know what alcohol leads to, right? Like alcoholism is an actual problem. Cigarettes, I've had people tell me they smoke their whole life, and I'm like, well, I don't smoke, I don't drink, but I have a cup of Coke, and they're like, oh, that's even worse. And so of course it's not worse.
No, but it's still bad. But yeah,
we don't like. I don't even know how bad it is, because the alternatives, it's like you can take an iced tea. Let's say, what's it, Arizona, whatever the fuck you have that there, like Arizona.
Okay, sure.
Check the amount of sugar in that. It's more than in Coca-Cola. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand how. And they will tell you, Coca-Cola is the worst. Better drink tea. That's not a tea. That's like a sugar drink. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say, like, if you are the best and the biggest, which Amazon 100% is in what they're doing, right? Like, there's no denying Amazon is like extremely successful company. I'm not trying to defend them or whatever the fuck. I don't care about Amazon. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't care. But it's very common that the rest of the world in the same branch is going to slap them as much as they can. This happened to Blizzard. This happened to EA. This happens to everyone, even when they do something good, you know?
I would say you'd have a point there if they actually ended up releasing a game, but they did. That's been the problem.
What do you mean? They're releasing a game now. Like, it's coming.
Yes, one. Do you know how many we're supposed to? Do you know how many studios they had to start? They had a lot. They had at least 5 titles.
2 are coming out, by the way. 2 are coming out. So... They also made a decision to step out from something that got sold to Tencent, which I kind of agree with, because Tencent is not a studio I like.
No,
I think they're not as bad, and that would be like 3 out of 5 probably, or something like that.
I don't know, man. I've heard some reviews by different like games journalists, and I mean, okay, games journalists, take it with what you will, but like the fact that their head designer, or their head I can't remember who they're the CEO, I guess, for lack of a better term, of the Amazon Games Studios,
whatever,
has never been involved in the games industry ever.
Do you know what people talk about Star Citizen and their CEO?
Okay, at least he's done something.
Sure, but not all of it is true. That's what I'm saying. Like, people are going to... And especially in today's day and age,
right? I would say you're right if they were still producing all these titles that they came out with, or that they had initially announced, and that they weren't basically flopping and going under before they'd even gotten through the development cycle. But I don't even know how we got on this topic. But anyways, I hope New World is successful, but I don't think it has really anything to do with whether or not Star Citizen will be successful.
No, I don't think it would have anything to do with success of Star Citizen, but the model of Star Citizen, yes. I think the New World.
Oh, as in like the tech sort of thing.
Not only tech, but like if it's gonna be in the proper MMO that they have to pay for servers so much, if it's gonna have a subscription or if it's gonna go the way like Destiny and stuff like that, right? So
with like smaller sharded
exactly,
servers.
Because there hasn't been an MMO that is successful. If we take out all the Asian MMOs, I'm not talking about that, but like we didn't have a new MMO in such a long time. Now we're getting 2 coming out. One is coming out in a month and a half, I think, which is New World, and the other one is Ashes of Creation, which I don't know if it's like Star Citizen of MMOs. Like
I wouldn't hold my breath on that one.
I mean, a lot of people love it and all that. I'm not trying to poop on it, but it's this guy's like Chris Roberts too. Like he's never gonna finish this project.
I don't know a ton about it, just beyond the like, you know, it's a guy. At least he's funding it with his own development. But
kind of.
From what I've heard, he's promising the moon, and we've been in that rodeo before.
So what I'm saying is the fate in MMOs lies in New World, unless New World comes out as like super shitty game. Like that's always an option, right? I'm not saying New World is coming, it's an amazing game, and then if it flops, no, I don't know. But in case New World is really good game and it flops, then I don't see any studio ever, like making an MMO like a legit old school MMO in a long while. Maybe in like 10-20 years. What if Star Citizen comes out?
I think that's it, right? Like I think Star Citizen's still going to push for it because that's what they are aiming for, right? But that'll really be telling if a crowd-funded, completely community driven and really well funded project can't make an MMO fly, like with no producers and publishers in the mix, then I think you're right in that, like, it's the era of the MMO is over. But
we don't really know what they're aiming for, so
no,
because they say MMO, but like if you ask Bethesda, Fallout 76 is an MMO, and it kind of is.
But we know for a fact that that's not what they're aiming for with Star Citizen, but if it ends up that way, we'll be telling for sure.
We'll see. We talked about this a lot.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
The only other thing I wanted to mention before we move on, I guess, is that they did say that Horizon has the full volumetric clouds, but nowhere else does yet, which is kind of unfortunate, but I'm not super surprised.
Man, I think it's a big thing, though. So does that mean that we need Planet Tech 5?
No, I think from the sounds of things, it's just a time thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see that in the next patch or two.
Let's
it's just
see.
They were focusing on, totally. But like from the way that they were talking about it, the tech is there, and it should be pretty quote unquote easy to adapt to the other. They just didn't have the time to get it in for 3.14. So
do you remember when they talked about rivers and they were showing how they're doing it on Microtech, and we still don't have that? Remember, they were like,
wait, about what?
Rivers, water bodies on bodies of water on Microtech. You don't remember?
Yeah,
we were talking about this very extensively.
No, I do. I don't remember the part where they said soon. I'm pretty sure they said probably not soon.
I don't know. I think we all got super hyped about it, and like
we did because it was beautiful. But
that was like more than a year ago. Like, and there's no word about it. And they were like, "This is how easy it is." Oh, yeah.
I think it was like September of last year. But well, that's something I'm sure Darj has here. But
sure,
I'll
but you don't have to look it up. But even if, let's say it's September, like that's almost a year. Okay. You know what month it is?
Yeah. Yes. But also, I think you're misinterpreting. I don't think they said it'll be in soon. I'm pretty sure they said it's not anywhere close to ready.
I don't know. They were like, look, this is how easy it is for us to do this and that. And they were super happy.
Yeah, but
about
he
it
also said but this, like this is just developer art. I just got the system working. The tech art needs to actually go through and do their thing with it. At any rate, we'll see if we get volumetric clouds on the other planets, quote unquote, soon. It sounded like it would be relatively easy, but who knows? The one thing I will say that I'm really glad that we saw in the snippets of the volumetric clouds in Crusader is how they really took the high velocity. This is a nerd thing, by the way. Like this, it doesn't have anything to do with the game, really. Just that on gas giants, you typically have these like really, really high wind kind of environments, and they said they actually took that into account when they were like sculpting out the clouds. They talked about like how there's different layers in the clouds too, so like when you're up high, you know, like you might be seeing more of a flat plane, but then you start to dive into it, and they talked about like seeing more like canyons in the clouds, which I think is awesome, or could be awesome. I guess we'll see. That made my nerd brain happy.
I think the clouds, like in general, look like give so much to Crusader. The one thing that I'm curious about is right now, the dark side of the moon, the dark side of the planet looks like crap to me. There's like not enough reflection for anything, and just like if I get stuck with flying a cargo, quantum sensitive cargo from point A to point B, and everything is in darkness, it's not enjoyable. It's like your lights are not helping. The lights on your ship are always worse than no lights, even in like pitch black situations. And I wonder how will this affect, like Crusader on a dark side, if it has dark side. I don't know. Like,
it will? Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's gonna be like flying through the clouds with like no fucking way of lighting them up and like whatever. It's I'm not looking forward to that.
No, that's fair. I didn't even think about the dark side thing. That's another one of the situations where like I'm hoping at some point we get prioritized like either different vision modes or something like that, like low light or like thermal, because like that would be another way where you like you could actually see what's going on a little bit more.
What are your cats attacking you?
Yes. No, he's I didn't realize he was in there because he's sneaky. And he's in here now, and I might have to let him out because he's starting to make noise.
You wanna go do it?
Yeah, okay.
Go.
Alright, 1 second.
In the meantime, I'm gonna talk trash about you. So for those of you who are not watching this, but just listening, Masokas has left his battle station to fight the nasty panther that he has in his studio. This creature is known to attack green screen, absolutely hates it, and also very verbal when it's hungry. If I might have to start looking for another co-host if Maso does not make it out alive. But yeah, I think we're kind of done this with the news, which took more than 2 hours. It was a very interesting SCL. Gave us a lot to talk about, even though we tangented a lot, to no surprise. There he is. You survived?
Okay. Oh yeah. No, just
okay.
He always. I just need to make a habit of like checking his hides before I start recording.
You did that before.
I thought he was gone. I didn't think he was in here, and then of course, you know, he's fine. He usually is just sleeping until all of a sudden somebody starts making noise in the kitchen downstairs, which is what's happening right now. And he's like, "Oh, there's probably food down there. Please let me out. I'm going to be a shithead until you let me out."
I totally did not explain that while you were away. You might have to listen for that on YouTube.
Double explanation, man. Double explanation. Were we done with volumetric?
Yeah,
clouds?
I think we're done. We're done with the news after 2 hours and like 10 minutes, so we can go into our topic.
We had some tangents there.
Yeah,
just a couple.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. And I just want to say, because there were some comments, and I'm grateful and thank you guys for worrying and all that. I'm feeling fine now. Like it's been over 2 hours and I'm okay, which is good. So the topic for this week's episode is what would bring us back to the game, and this is like we can think about like several things that can happen that will make you like immediately just like jump back into it. And if you guys are listening and you are prone to making comments on YouTube, feel free to add your reasons for Even if you're
Yeah.
playing the game right now, like there's a lot of people who play. Like I played it the last couple of days, but it's still like like what would be that thing that like
that would just like hook you. Yeah. Like even if you're playing like every now and then or whatever, and there's something that like that would just make you come back.
I gotta
and
go.
be, like,
Yeah, I gotta go play.
time, right? As opposed to what I do now, which is basically jump in when there's something new to see, for a little bit. I'll go first, I guess. Like for me, honestly, even I'm gonna start with a bar really, really high. So really low rather. Like it's not hard, and that is basically just a more dynamic economy. Like I was interested in playing the game when they had the commodity price alerts during Invictus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Simply because it just added just that bit of extra interesting thing that I could do that allowed me to, switch between whatever, mining or bounty hunting or cargo hauling. Like just being able to bounce between those and have them interesting. Or more interesting rather, had me playing the game. And then I noticed like as soon as those commodity alerts stopped and trading was dead again, I was like, okay, I'll go play something else, I guess.
It's just that thing, like the same with Xenotrap when it happened, and like you have something to play with, and then they just like pull that rug under your feet for no reason, and you're like, you've had your fun. Now go back to nothing. I never understand this in an alpha. Like why the fuck did they not?
Well, I mean, unless the commodity price alerts thing was actually part of that event, and they couldn't remove Invictus without removing those commodity price alerts. But like, okay, so from a very base level, like I said, I mean, just having like that more interesting cargo hauling in there was something that brought me back to the game. Whether or not it would have kept me there for more than a month or a quarter or whatever, that's something else. But like that's like with the bar really, really low, that's something that brought me back to the game.
I would say salvage. I don't care, like tier 1, tier 0, whatever.
Right. So like what, like salvage specifically, just like mining ships basically, or
I don't care, any kind of salvage, even improving the boxes that you can find in space. Or today, I've sent you a screenshot. I landed on
that's right.
On the space station, and there the pad that I got had a mining head on. Like I'm assuming someone landed there with Contanium and exploded or something. I don't know. And there was a mining laser lying on the ground. Like just the ability to salvage any parts and either, well, I guess combined with selling.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was saying. Like, do you want mining hulls, or is selling a part of that? Because I would say selling is another thing that would definitely bring me back to the game. Like being able to like find stuff. Just because
you can do that now. I did it. You can go and find mushrooms and other things.
You can't sell your components.
No, you cannot sell components
that you can't sell guns that you pull off of dead bodies and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm afraid that this we want this because we don't have it, but I'm afraid that it wouldn't change much because we kind of have it.
Maybe.
Because you can sell minables, for example, or stuff like that.
So it would have to be paired with
something. For me, like salvage, as in like I would love, like if you ask me, like if they said, okay, tomorrow you can salvage wrecked ships with what's the name, the big ship, fuck, reclaimer with reclaimer. I'm selling everything I have, buying a reclaimer, and I'm going nom.
Yeah, so basically just like nomming ships and then selling scrap.
I would love it. Yeah, well, I don't even care what I'm selling, like.
But like selling components and stuff like that,
sure,
would add more depth to that.
It
but
would.
I'm trying to say, like, just being able to sell my components back to the store and
Would
guns
that
back in
bring
the store,
you-
would that bring me back? No. I
No,
don't
that's
think
what I'm
so.
saying. It would be a great addition, but it's not. Oh my god, I'm coming back to the game. It would be more
unless
like
unless I could pull them out of. Okay, well I'll say that then. Even without selling or anything like that, physicalized components, like insofar as you can actually pull them out of your ship and out of other ships, like that would bring me back.
really. Why?
Yeah, because that's alongside of
Without
salvage,
selling
right?
them,
Like
without
Yeah,
being
but
able
then-
to sell them, or because what do you
I'm
do with these
picturing it-
components?
you upgrade your ship. This is what I'm saying. Like if you were gonna do a 0 to hero and you could pull out components from ships that you blew up,
Yeah, but
like that,
and
that
then you
would be a
upgrade,
more
and
fun
that's
way of
it.
doing. Yeah,
Sure.
sure, but it's like we do 0 to hero now without that, right? Like you
Yeah.
just buy the components, right? But like if you could, if on top of buying the components, you could basically be like, all right, I killed all these pirates. Time to hop out of my ship and go see if there's anything good in them, and be like, oh, this is an upgrade from my ship, pull this out, bring it back over to my ship, pull
But
my
then-
old one out.
Then you need to be able to not. We're not getting it anytime soon, but like we need ships not to explode, right? Like that's
true,
what they
yeah.
talked about. So that's
I think I'm kind of getting off track here now that I think about it, because I'm like, those aren't necessarily things that would pull me back to the game.
To me,
full-time.
that's
It would
more
just
of
be
like
something I'd want to come and do. Yeah.
tap on the back for CGO guys. Nice, this is good. But it's
Yeah.
not like, but it is like as good as Crusader, like, oh, that's amazing.
Okay. Well, let's say can we just lump like salvage and selling into
Yeah.
one then? And that's like, I guess that would legitimately bring me into the game, into a point where I'd be like playing it probably pretty close to full time.
meaningful new profession, to be like more precise. And for me, like salvage and selling would definitely do the trick. But we could start with like smaller things. Yeah, like if I can go, it can be full on PvE. Like I don't care. Like right now, if they gave me the attachment for my multi-tool and I go in to salvage, to wrecked Connie in space, or that wreckage of what's the name, Caterpillar on Damar or whatever, like where you have a mission to recover the black box, but then you can scrape things off of it.
Yeah. Like, oh, that
Right?
power plant's still good. I'm gonna take that with me. Yeah.
And then
that would just add depth to the gameplay that we already have.
yeah,
In those missions.
so and then all the boxes that I get there, I can actually sell them for more than like 12 SCU. So
yeah.
that would be a start of salvage for me. Like honestly, like I'd be okay with like getting scraps and making money that way.
That's honestly how I thought we were going to get salvage initially. Like I'm actually on record on a couple different captain's tables basically saying that I think the salvage that we're going to see first is just basically being able to pull components and sell them. I was wrong, as it turns out, but like that's what I thought we were going to see. And yeah, I agree with you there. I think to put the bar a little higher, anything that like something that would bring me back would be obviously kind of more the implementation of the dynamic universe stuff.
Can you explain that?
Well, specifically like kind of going off of what I initially said about how there's the commodity updates and stuff like that, where it tells you like this place is a shortage, well, taking that a step higher and just basically saying, so Stanton is running on Quanta now.
So
That
full
would be
implementation of Quanta technically for one system.
Yeah. For that
Okay.
one system, I'd be in.
That would open up the game a lot.
Yeah.
Like it would give you a reason to like investigate certain things and do them because you want to,
and things would change.
and
you know what I
utilize your
mean? Like,
knowledge, right? So that's always good
Exactly.
in the game.
Yeah, like that would add some of that depth. That would bring me back.
I would come back also if we could float on top of the water, whatever the fuck. Like, I really would like that would
Yeah.
legit bring me back. I know this is like
I'm not laughing at you for that. I'm laughing at that because like that might be sooner rather than later. Actually, I mean,
I
we'll
don't know.
see. But like I said, I mean, the RSI, and this is something we'll talk about in the Imagine section. But like the boat physics are like
I
supposedly
know.
done.
The problem is we only have one planet with the actual ocean. Only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for
no,
sure.
am I wrong? Maybe there's two. One
No,
of the moons
well-
of one moon has one moon of Microtech has frozen ocean, and the other one has an ocean, right?
Yeah,
But
I
again,
don't think it's
it
liquid
wouldn't-
water though. I think it's like liquid ammonia or something. Like it's. But I mean, I guess in theory, I'm not sure about that. Don't. This is just something I read somewhere, but I don't know how boats work on that.
But Thurston is such a shit planet to like do anything because of the pollution and everything. But like, if I could, land 135 or 300 die and open the door, sit on the like in the water and sit on the doorsteps or whatever it's called, ladder, and fish. I don't know. I would do it, man. Like it would be, and it would like I know like this might sound crazy, but I'm not fishing in real life. Like I tried long ago, and it was just not my thing. I don't care. But in MMOs, for some reason, it really relaxes me a lot, and I can stick with fishing for such a long time. It's like such a relaxing thing to do, and you still feel like you're part of the game. So
yeah. I agree with you there in that like that's kind of what cargo hauling is for me, to be honest. Like in Star Citizen, even not right now, but the way it used to be, it was just like it's one of those chill things that I can just do, and I'm still in the game and I'm still kind of interacting with the game, but I'm like I'm doing something chill. So I get that. What else would it be for me? I guess it's kind of a cop out because it's kind of salvage as well, but like repair. I love the idea of being able to like patch up a ship that I've broken, or potentially that I found somewhere.
Okay.
Or potentially that I found somewhere, and want to fix. So.
Oh, like find a smaller ship.
Yeah, crash and potentially being able to fix it. But I don't know if that's something that would bring me back the whole time.
Like, what would you do? Like, fly there with the Aurora, fix it, and then like leave the Aurora? I
don't even know. I think ultimately, in order for that to be something that brings me back, it would have to. I think in general, actually, this all just would have to be. The more I'm thinking through this, the more I'm realizing that the things that would really bring me back aren't necessarily a single feature.
No.
They're a bunch of things that connect together to make the game feel more like a game, I guess.
Whatever it is, it needs to become meaningful. Even with fishing, I need to sell it. Or, but maybe I could do it, but still.
Or eat it, or, or...
Oh, yeah.
Something, right? Like,
and grow third eye because I ate something that I fished in Hurston because there's nowhere else.
Definitely would not want to do that. No, yeah, definitely would not want to.
Still better than Ratadunk or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it, right? Like I just like the quanta system. It's not even really necessarily the quanta system that I'm interested in. It's the way that the quanta system connects with the mission system, which connects with the event system. With salvage, it's like how salvage connects with physicalized components, which connects with selling, which connects with repair. Like those are it's kind of those the interconnectivity that would really bring me back rather than just a single feature.
I'll tell you one more for me, and then I'll ask you something then. That is circling around a lot. So for me, ground vehicle based missions, as in like delivery mission, for example. But like they send you to those bases like where you spawn a vehicle, and then you deliver something with there's a rover or something like that.
Yeah.
But only if like ground vehicle drive whatever model was better.
So like
right now it's really
like,
bad.
So like ground vehicle missions. basically, like
Yeah.
missions that actually require like you to use a ground vehicle.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't think that would make me come back full time, but I would definitely come back to try it for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing. Like yeah. Okay,
That's where I
so
think it comes back to me where I was talking about like how like with stuff like that, if it were connected to the mission system, which was connected to the Quanta system, dude, I'm in,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. This is what I think most of the people would put on the first place, and I'm surprised that neither of us did. But I know why I didn't. I didn't do it on purpose. But I'm curious about you, and I'll explain. So, if there were rewards for doing something long term, as in progressing through reputation and then getting something in return, like let's say you do bounty hunting, and when you reach whatever level of it, you get a ship or livery or title or whatever the fuck, gun.
Yeah.
Would that bring you back into the game?
Not that specifically, because that's not really, it's never been something that I've really cared about in MMOs. Like I'm not after the title. I hated achievement hunting, for example. I did not give a fuck about achievements. I still don't. And so
like
for me,
I thought I hate
them.
them. I thought I hate them, but now I'm playing classic. Like we just finished classic World of Warcraft, and now we're playing classic TBC, and I'm like, man, I kind of wish there were achievements. I don't know why. Something changed in me, but I don't know. No, it's a fair point, but yeah, keep on. Sorry.
For me, it just doesn't do it for me. Like that's not a reason for me. Like I want to do the thing to see it connect to another thing, for example.
Sure, but what if if you get to a certain point of the reputation, then you get to do something else?
Sure, I mean a little bit like that sort of progression is fine, sure, but that in and of itself, I don't think would be enough to like really bring me back. Like it would help for sure, but like that by itself wouldn't be the reason. For me, like this is the thing, like in open kind of sandbox games like this, I love cooperating to do something tangible, not like let me grind so that I can get to this next level so that I can do these more missions, so that I can grind to get the next level so that I can do more missions. I want to grind with a group to get the materials we need to build a base, and then once we've got that base, grind to a point where we can do this other thing to build. Like I'm okay with grinding and stuff like that when the reward was group progression, but like for an achievement or for a rep level that unlocks like another mission, like I'll do it, but that's not that fun to me.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Like it wouldn't change the game. Like people think it would change, and even we talked about this, it would change the game and all that, but it wouldn't. It's like right now you're doing that to yourself. You're like gating yourself to do something because you're limited by money or a ship or whatever, and then the game will do that for you, which is more appealing, I would say, but it's not that different. I think the game needs it. No, would that make you come back? 100%. The base building?
The problem is that base building by itself, no. It would have to be connected with all the other stuff. That's the thing. It's that depth that I'm craving. So like if I could mine materials that would, in order to build a base to be able to
spawn in that base?
Spawn in that base, maybe do repairs in that. I don't know, stuff like that. Like those sorts of kind of more like longer term group goals. Like that's something that is always interesting to me. Or but yeah, like it really does come down to that interconnectivity.
If I could have a base right now and I could like go around and collect random things like Pico and shit like that, and actually have that persistence in the base where I can like set up my house or whatever the fuck, and then have like a hangar next to it where I cannot spawn the ships, but the ships stay there when I bring them home.
Yeah.
I would, and if I can like expand that base and all that, I would even though that's not my gameplay in Star Citizen, I don't give a shit about it like right now. Like maybe as a bigger like picture with the org or whatever, you know, like as you said, like group activity. But right now, that would probably be something that I would gladly do, like invest into.
But I tell you what would bring me back more is like you said, like if it was a position where it's like, okay, now our org is basically choosing this spot and we're all gonna build our bases kind of like in a city, or like to make like a mini city, like that, dude, I'm in. Like I love that kind of group co-op kind of gameplay.
You know, you can do that in No Man's Sky kind of, but like that's I don't think that's
dual universe too. Like I love that in dual universe.
I don't know if the planets are not that big, man. In Star Citizen, we think they're big, but they're not.
Big.
They're big, but they're not that big. If you start building cities,
I'm not talking about. Well,
I know, but yeah.
Like
so,
I don't
so
think I think it would take a huge org in order to build like a city the size of like Lorville, for example. But
here's something that should have been in game already, and would bring me back into the game. Guilds, clans, as in like. You just have a way to connect, to talk to your friends in chat that are part of the clan. There's and then you know what, like clan org progression. Like would you like org achievements?
Yes. That would be a little that'd be a little bit more interesting to me, but again, like those org achievements would have to be something interesting. Like I don't want
as an org. Like I'm not talking about like, oh, you collected 7 tons of mine, like whatever. More of like your org did this, and now this new content opens up for your org. You know what I mean? Like
I will tell you, like one thing that would get me really stoked is because you know how like, okay, so the javelins that people own are not actually flyable. Like if you actually read the javelins that people are buying for thousands of dollars are not armed.
I don't think they have balls to actually do that, but we'll see. I know what you're saying, but
okay, well that's the way it reads basically. Is when you buy that javelin, it is not serviceable. And that is something that, like, as for an org achievement or whatever, where we were like working to bring a javelin online, oh man, I'm in. I don't even care what we do with that javelin afterwards. But what if, as an org you are getting reputation with certain station, and then your org mates can repair for free, for example, there, or like less price. It's not something big, but some little things like that you are right though, like just having the fact that like, so you log in and like instead of just global chat going by, it's like you have, even if it's just 50 player servers or whatever, but you can actually see people talking in your org.
We have you can have that, by the way, just saying. When Orchid used to
party
no you can create a channel Wait, a year and a half ago we made an org, IPE, sorry, and Orca was still playing. We were doing our podcast back then, and we got like, I don't know, like 15-ish members, and with each reset he would log in, create a channel, IPE, in game, and then he would invite people to the channel. And then if you're invited to the channel, whenever you log into the game, you are in that channel.
No way! I had no idea that was possible this entire time.
Yep, it's the only problem is
huge org.
Whenever,
if anybody
the problem is whenever you have a reset, it wipes that as well. So whenever there's like a new patch, someone has to go through like every fucking name and invite them. So it's a little bit of a complex process, but it works.
Well, let me just say, like, then just to clarify on that, then I would just say that I would like something to be more user friendly than that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I want
WoW Guild, like log on, see who's online in the guild screen. I
want org UI. I 100% want org UI to be a thing, and I would like org progression. It was something small, like that, like lower fuel cost, whatever the fuck, like I don't care.
Yeah,
something like that. Would ship visual customization bring you in?
Nope.
Same.
Not back full time, anyways.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
it's not like I would like that in
cool.
game, but it's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd come in and check it out, obviously, and tweak my ships around and stuff. But I'm not gonna go back to. I wouldn't be playing, that as my main game just for that.
It's interesting because I think our reasons to come back into game are different than many content creators that I've heard. What about what about professional? Man, we need to have that as a imagination station. But we don't know if we're gonna have professions in game. Let's say there was people are talking about farming, for example, or brewing, or stuff like that. I don't know much about it, but I'd like
farming
to.
Is confirmed, actually. It was confirmed.
Well, it makes sense because look at the Endeavor.
Last ISC.
Mm.
They asked, will you be able to grow these plants and stuff like that, and he said yes, but not soon.
Yeah, but we can have an imagination station on that, or even topic.
Yeah, just just professions in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I like this topic. It was super chill. It's something that I don't know about you, but I'd like other people to, if you guys are listening, if you made it this far, if you have your reason that would just straight out bring you back into the game, or if you agree or disagree with some of ours, that'd be also cool.
Yeah. And specifically, we're talking about something that would just instantly hook you, and you're playing this game primarily. And I know some people are doing that now, and that's fine. But you can still chime in things that would improve that experience.
I'm sure a lot of us crave for certain content,
I would like to revisit this topic at some point, simply because I feel like I probably have a lot more to say about it, but I'm so hungry right now I can't think.
Okay.
I forgot breakfast because I was out in the garden because heat wave and my garden was dying.
Okay, fair enough. We touched on our imagination station already. So basically,
sort of. There's more to say there too.
For sure. But the imagination station this week is, what other vehicles would you look forward to having in Star Citizen? And it's it's imagined. So not the ships that are in concept, or ground vehicles that are in concept. More of what would you like to see?
You touched on it before we went live. Sorry, did you have more to say?
No. Go for it.
I want faster ground transportation in cities.
Yes.
I don't want to see people sprinting off of a train to another train. If you really just have a place that you want to be, I want there to be an option for you to just hire a taxi. Just go there directly. Instead of having to go on a train. If I need to go from the spaceport to the CBD for any reason, unless I'm
I really think frugal, you should be able to land in CBD rather. That just makes more sense to me. Or
they've always said that basically that'll be a rep thing. Because there are landing pads on the CBD.
Yeah. Okay.
They just said basically
there's no landing pads in TDD though.
No. But that's a little different.
Maybe even direct line or something like that.
In TDD on ArcCorp, you can see there's cars flying around, or they're actually ships, but they're flying around in highway formations and stuff like that. Let me skip the bus and hire a taxi that gets me directly to the location
Uber.
I'm trying to get to. Yeah, or outside of that, hoverboards, something segways, something that zips you around faster through, on foot, instead of, because I feel personally I would rather see somebody going by on a little segway or something rather than sprinting his face off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That to me makes more sense, to have some sort of little hoverboard or whatever, or scooter or something.
So I thought about this. I think it would have to be hoverboard or something like that, and then I would kind of, because every plant is different, right? So but this would be your personal item, right? So So you can't use the same in Area 18 and Microtech, for example, because it's a completely different architecture and
Right.
everything.
Like maybe
Like,
it's against the law. Like
I mean, it
there's
cannot
like
be
a
a
law.
car. I mean, like, or a bike or something like that. It's just like it's
Yeah.
impossible, right? So something that elevates you a little bit and then like flies you around, like as in like levitation. But I would also implement GPS into this so that you can like set like, okay, I'm going to FTL, right? So I click on the map and that like drives me there while I'm going through my
Yeah.
Mobiglass, like checking for the next mission
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah, for
trading
sure.
or whatever the fuck is happening. So I
You
would
know what?
really love something like that.
I know it's just another version of like cabs or something like that, but like on on Microtech, one of the things that would be kind of neat is if like as if there were like little basically docking areas for like for cabs. So like so instead of like taking the train or whatever, you'd basically hop on a cab from the spaceport and you could go to, you know, like the plaza or whatever. And it would just basically have a like a separate little docking port basically where these cabs would pull in,
Mm.
dock, and then let you out kind of a thing. I know it's not the hoverboard or whatever, but like it's speaking of being able to basically just pick a destination
Yeah,
and then do your thing while
yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, you know, on your Mobiglass while
And
you're
it
getting
wouldn't
there. Like
break the immersion
that's
as well, right? Because
well
you're
that's
still
exactly it,
going through
right?
the whole thing, right? You just don't have to
Yeah.
like run everywhere like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's what I thought of for more vehicles.
uh, boats. Obviously, I
Boats.
want boats.
Yeah.
But there's more. Like I would really like to see more technical vehicles such as maybe bulldozers or you know like skipper trucks or you know stuff like that, like something like utility vehicles, like ground vehicles, at least for NPCs, you know, even if we can't use them on our own. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that'd be really cool.
Well, that right there, like specifying that they're for NPCs too, just like that just adds life to like when you look around Hurston, for example, there's like pit mines everywhere and stuff like that, but there's nothing going on in them. You know, like it would be much cooler to be flying into Lorville and seeing like, you know, like diggers basically actually operating in
Yeah.
those pit mines and trucks, mining trucks driving around in them and stuff like that. Um I was thinking of like something that's more frivolous and more just like for this would be down the road, but this is imagined, so
Yeah.
you know, um, like like gliders, basically, like recreational gliders, so basically be able to like,
We have that on splash art for 100 series, right?
yeah, exactly. In that like, there's the 100 series and there's like the gliders in the background, something like that, man. Or I'm even
True.
thinking like more like the bigger gliders with like the big wide wings or something, where you get like towed up by a ship to a certain altitude and then you just kind of like, you know, float.
Oh, as a vehicle glider, like what we have
Yeah.
with like non-engine
Yes.
plane.
Yes, but also like you said, like the personal gliders as well. Specifically, I would like some sort of variation of a squirrel suit. You know what those are?
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah,
for those
but
who
like
don't
with
know, it's a suit where like if you spread your hands and legs, you basically create surface that allows you to glide through the air. It's an extreme
Yeah.
sport basically. Like we have it already.
Yeah.
It's quite utilized. So I would like something like this for sure. And like, you know, and then you can have these like that would be fun, man. Like imagine having an org, or like before Dama Rally there's an 890 jumper, like 10 people just jump off and like fly down and whatnot. Like it's just like
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
fun to do, and I'm sure it would we
Oh.
would get a kick out of it for or
That's
like
something.
gliding through the canyons, you know, of
Yeah.
Daymar, or you know.
Something I'm pretty sure they said that they're not planning on doing, but I wish they would. Parachutes. It's not really a vehicle, really, but like, you know.
I think because they're going for more of like Iron Man, you know, idea where you can use the thrusters to manipulate. As in, what's the name? The Titan suit.
Yeah, but I don't think that's for. I don't think the Titan suit can do like Halo entries or anything like that. I mean, it's possible it can, but it is like an exoskeleton. But you're right in that, like they said, like if you're ejecting in planet, they basically are just going to have your ejection seat go out, and then when you get close enough to the ground, it just like retro rockets.
Yeah, but that's like
Yeah.
that's like saving your ass. What about
Yes, yeah.
infiltrating? You know, like how do you? So you
Right,
have
yeah.
what? You have a drop ship, and then what? People just jump
Yes.
out and break their legs, or what the fuck? You know, maybe some boots with just like boots with thrusters or something like that.
You know what? They'd be like if they're gonna do that for ejection seats, I would say they'd probably use the same tech for people who are like doing infiltration.
So when
kind
they
of
go
things,
back,
like
there's no seats anymore. Or like
No,
the engineer goes and like.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I just meant like, yeah, like you said, like boots or a backpack or something where basically they get down to a low thing. The problem with that, when you think about it, is like you're not very stealthy if you're like rocketing into a into a location.
The fact that they said no to parachutes is just like fucking the only
I think
thing.
it's a physics problem, would be my guess.
Yeah, but if they're gonna make gliders, like probably not. But
I don't think they are.
But I mean, really, there's a physics problem, you motherfuckers. Like,
yeah, I could see it down the road, especially if they are gonna do gliders. Like, you know, like we've already got. Honestly, I think the point when they said that they weren't going to do parachutes was probably after they actually did their like atmospheric flight thing, where like they're doing flight surfaces that give you lift.
We're EVAing through space already, so the tech is there. We just need to think of a human body as.
Well, that's what they've said that they are.
We have thrusters. What the? Why can't we use our thrusters in atmosphere? Now, I never thought about that before.
That's what they said they're going to do with the ejection, basically. Is it'll basically be modified EVA suit, and it'll get you down to the ground safely, but like beyond that, you're not going to be able to fly anywhere. It'll just basically prevent you from pancaking.
Okay.
What?
No, it's like I don't know. Like you can do so much as well. It's like what happens, right? So, but like right now, it's kind of funny because we have these suits with like fucking thrusters, but we cannot what.
Yeah.
But the thrusters don't work in the atmosphere. Like why? You know. But it's like
does make sense.
Flipping
like,
a switch, man.
From a scientific perspective, the thrusters that you're using in space are like cold gas thrusters. They're not actual like.
Okay, you don't need much energy to like.
Exactly, they're just compressed air basically, or compressed gas. But they have said that like that is the system they will be using for when you eject in atmosphere and are getting down. So I think it is probably like a quote unquote flip the switch kind of a thing. It's just there's more to like that's what I'm guessing that's probably some of the stuff they'll tackle in EVA 2.0, where they're gonna make you kind of like have more of that limited fuel with your EVA suit. And,
yeah, I'm okay with like limitations on it, but like
and stuff like that. But
it would be really cool, like for example, you know what else would be cool? Some simple things like snowboards.
Yeah,
like Pico has a snowboard.
People are already doing that. People are already doing that on Microtech.
How?
I can't remember how they were doing
it. Well,
I
saw that they're like dropping Picos on.
Yeah.
Well, Picos are doing it, not people, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can drop Pico on, and then it's gonna like slide down. So, can we have snowboards, please? Thank you. And then you know what would be cool if we had like the squirrel suits. You can like jump off.
Yeah.
And then just like glide. That would be fucking amazing.
Yep.
Someone's gonna be in comments like, "You guys are playing the wrong game."
Fair enough.
Do you think people will still use skateboards in this day and age in Star Citizen?
I don't see why you wouldn't.
I don't think these things would ever die, right?
Yeah, I think they'd probably be powered. Like even now, like around town, I'm seeing more and more and more electric skateboards more than like just like push skateboards, right?
Shout out to Jordan. I don't know if he listens, but he made such a good video. A friend of mine who recently started streaming, he made a really good video on YouTube of him using the. It's so good. It's raining. He's actually a fellow Canadian, so it's raining, and he tweaked his whatever electric skateboard so that the water doesn't go into the whatever electronics, and he was like fucking smashing it through the rain. It's so good. I gotta send you a link. And the music is good and everything. Everything is so good.
Cool. I'm in.
All right. Yeah, if you guys have any ideas about like other vehicles that we should have in the game that we did not mention, I gotta speed it up a little bit because this guy is going to starve. I don't want to be responsible for that.
To clarify here as well, like this was our imagination section, so like obviously none of the stuff here were like, you need to put this in CIG. It's just like cool stuff that would be it would be sweet to see. Though I will say, like, some of the transportation, the alternate transportation options that we kind of talked about earlier, I think that is something that I really legitimately hope they put in, because
the hoverboards as well, especially when we have like big events like what's the name, the ISC, like, no, what's the name?
It's so immersion breaking to see people sprinting across the floor all the time, because the like the Fleet Week floor and the international, is it ISC? No, it's not. Oh god, I can't remember. My brain is dead. But yeah, like the conventions are just huge, and like nobody walks across them like a normal person. Everybody sprints across them like a crazy person. And like, it would just be awesome if there was some less immersion breaking thing that they could use.
Super cool solution to this would be, because we know we're gonna have drones in game. If you get to like convention, and you can either go on foot, right, or your hoverboard if you have it, or you can get into a drone station and then you can fly from there through like the whole thing.
Oh, hey, that's cool. So you're not like, you're just basically you're basically like sitting at the entryway somewhere and just controlling a drone. I like that. That's a cool idea.
You can use your sticks and everything, you know.
That'd be awesome.
And
there's gonna be so many situations where, like, especially even if we have like the hoverboards and whatever, the hoverboards, you're gonna be like plowing through people, and the drones will be like smacking people in the head and stuff
maniac!
Like that.
You know, it's okay though. Servers have only 50 people, so whatever. You know, like.
Here's something we didn't talk about, but I think we probably will see at some point, like obviously down the road, riding animals.
Really?
Yeah, I could see that. Like on Terra, I mean, they've already talked about having like cows and ranches and stuff like that on Terra. I could see there being like,
I don't know, the first thing that crossed my mind was the whale and like the Toriton cartoon, like surfing on a dolphin or whatever the fuck. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Okay, no, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking about just like, I don't know, horses or something like that on Terra, but. I could see that. I could see that down the road for sure. I could see that.
I mean, just go play RDO, man, or RDR. No, I'm kidding, but like
it's CR we're talking about, and we know CR liked RDR, so.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. But I mean, it's really good. Though.
No, there was a bunch of people who were freaking out when CR was like mentioning about how he thought it was cool that the stubble grew in, like the hair tech or whatever. And he was like, we could do that. I'm pretty sure I figured out how to do that. And everybody was like, no, Chris, no.
It's a damn good game, though. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I kind of feel like riding horses is such a... I think that's one of those things where it's like wasted time, kind of. It's like, yeah, you would enjoy it for sure. Like, it's not even... Like, I played RDO, and sometimes just like... slowly like gallop through the map, and it is like super nice and everything, and the sound of horse galloping and all that is like, we know that human beings are very positively affected with the horse connection. There's like no doubt about it, but you really want Star Citizen tech to be like
right now
going that way.
But like we're talking Imagine, and to be clear, like you already have like a 10-year release date on this, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like game is released and they're just like putting in shit to like like put out in the new patch that you have to buy or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like go ride horses on Terra,
and then make a ship for horse like transportation.
Beta 6.0 or something. Yeah, I don't know. But whatever, man. This is Imagination Station. That's what we're doing here. Okay, let's wrap this up. I want to go eat.
We didn't have any questions this time, so that's not going to be in the notes or wherever, like timestamps. I gotta say, man, it's been 3 hours and I'm feeling good.
Oh, hey, here's a thought, and we haven't talked about this, like, sorry, I didn't mean to like cut you off there or anything. I was just like
No,
on the
no.
topic of questions. We haven't really talked about this, but like, what about if people wanted to put questions in the comments or whatever, we could actually write them down and like
Yep,
and
I'm
address them
down.
in the next show.
100%.
Just because, like, I mean, obviously, like sitting through this whole live show and we're not responding to chat is this thing.
Yeah.
How about that then? Okay, like if you've got questions or whatever about stuff that we talked about previously, or just anything really, you can throw them in the comments, and I'll try to pick them out from the comments and put them in for our Q&A next week. Let's try that. This will be a new thing.
Yep, I agree. All right. You can sign us off.
Sure. Yeah, if you guys like this, then if you wouldn't mind throwing us a like, that would be awesome. If you like these sorts of like long form podcasts, YouTube talk shows, sorry, Reddit, feel free to subscribe. We do this every week on Sunday, and on Wednesdays we put out a show called Stanton Gossip, where we just talk about stuff that happens in the community over the week, share cool videos and stuff like that that we've seen throughout the week, etc. Is that it? That's about it. My brain's not working. I'm really hungry.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you for staying with us for this long. Have a great rest of your day, week, upcoming week, and yeah, we'll see you Wednesday, or if you're just watching Australia Santa, then next week. Have a great one and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.